Good evening. Dude79 here, just doing a quick mic check to make sure these audio levels aren't all fucked up like they are every week. Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Welcome, everybody. Good to see ya.
Probably sounds like shit. Let us know. We'll be live in just a moment. Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, we didn't have a system reset.
No.
We didn't have the mics crashing.
Correct.
Everything seemed to work great today. I just jinxed it. We're totally fucked. This show is going to fall apart. Mark my words. But yes, we are back. It is Wednesday night. We have a lot to talk about tonight. A lot of great stuff. We got some series finales. We got a mid-season checkup. We got to talk about a great Halloween movie. A lot of stuff to talk about tonight. My friend, how are you doing?
I'm doing.
He's doing.
Day by day.
He's doing.
Yeah.
It's good to see us back with the OCP in front of us.
It is.
It's been a hot minute because I tell you, dude, there is nothing I enjoy more come midweek than a lukewarm oatmeal cream pie. I mean, it's just kind of frothy, but it's still kind of warm and
yeah, man. We know.
It's kind of got that syrupy, sticky taste. You know, hold on.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, I mean, you just want to clean. You want to clean all around it. You want to get every bit of it. You just want to. This can has to be clean. You know. I just want to slurp it all up.
Wish you would do that more, because otherwise, black light down here.
Oh man, it is. It's been a heck of a week.
Yeah.
It's been wild. There's been a lot of shit going on in the realm of pop culture. We've had a lot of stuff go on this week. We've got trailers. We had a bunch of Silent Hill shit drop today. I mean, out of nowhere, Konami was like, "Oh, hey, we're doing a Silent Hill transmission today," and there's like 5 things we're announcing. So just when you thought Konami was like just
mobile gaming,
all about those pachinko machines, here we are, and they're just like, "Oh, by the way, Silent Hill is alive and well." There's a lot of Silent Hill shit coming our way, dude.
Yeah,
a ton. But what? I mean, seriously, man, what have you been up to? What have you been doing?
Not a whole lot. I guess the normal. Just crushing scores on my VR workouts and stuff like that. Holy shit, I'm crushing it. Yeah, honestly, not a whole lot. Just trying to keep up with the amount of media that's coming out all the time. Not even for the show, just other things as well too. That's watching, whether it's anime or something else as well too. Like I'm behind still on Dahmer and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to find time to balance all this shit.
I've heard Dahmer is one of those either love it or hate it shows. I've heard a lot of people say they swear by it and they really enjoy it, and there's others who are like, this is stupid.
The acting is incredible.
Is it really? I know your boy is in it that you like.
Evan Peters is amazing
actor. But I mean, there are a lot of people who are like really impressed by the show. I have not watched it. I have to make a point to make sure I check that out at some point. But dude, there's just so much shit going on.
I know, and like on the weekends, like I'm just trying to do that fall thing. Like I did some pumpkin stuff last weekend with some friends, and that was really awesome. I actually went to an actual orchard, which is something I don't always do. Normally I go like to Johnson's Pumpkin Farm or a pumpkin farm or something. But let me fucking tell you something. As somebody who loves cider donuts and all that stuff, there is nothing better than getting to an orchard like that and getting fresh fucking cider. Like I love Johnson's, but they have somebody bring in the gallons and half gallons of the actual cider. Like drinking it, like it just got probably squeezed within the last day. There's a whole other level of hits, and then you take it back with you and you just pour a little bit of that Fireball in there with that cider.
It's just chef's kiss.
Oh my god! Yeah, Fireball and cider, bro.
Have you ever heard of? Is it Jocks or Jocks? It's something local. They have a they're a vendor down at the farmers market downtown, and they have a bunch of cider and caramel apples and donuts and shit that they sell on Wednesdays and Fridays. So I think this Friday I'm going to sneak over there and just load up on all that healthy stuff. My doctor just suggested I eat mounds and mounds of.
Right. And I tell you, like, when it comes to cider, it's one of those kind of things where, like, you drink some and you just don't want to stop. Like, I got to be careful because, like, it's one of those things, you just don't know your limit. And next thing you know, you finished a half gallon, and an hour later, you're shitting your pants. Apples are nothing but
I don't need
fiber.
apples to do that.
Right. Apples are nothing but fiber. The peel in an apple is all fucking fiber. So you're just shitting. So
Cuddle says the Jeffrey Show is one of those that isn't bad but isn't great. Tricky says, I'm doing this thing called work now. It's the worst thing ever. I concur with Tricky on that. Morley says, I made apple cider in the crock pot. It was amazing.
All right.
Gray Monster. Hola, compadres. Hola, sir.
What up, dude?
And, Tricky, it does sound amazing. I would like to see some photos of this homemade cider.
Yeah, the orchard I was at actually too, half-ass, actually had, like, so you can come up with these little cups. They have the cups there, and you just walk up to this little sprickets and just, whoop, you have some cider. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like I wouldn't stand there all fucking day doing that like a scumbag. Come on.
Jay Hill's watching the first Pistons game. You and Prime are talking about that.
I know Prime's doing right now. Prime's using his vacation day. Shut fuck off.
Prime using all that vacation time up.
Scumbag.
It's amazing he hangs on to it as much as he does. I wish I could do that.
I don't know. He's living in a zoo. I think he got another animal recently too. So
did he get?
It's like a petting zoo. I think at his home.
Dude, you have a dog. What more do you need? Like how many animals do you need in your house?
He's got like 24 animals, I think, now at his home.
A lot of heavy petting going on there, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't blacklight that house.
Gonna be fun to watch this year. No, dude, I've heard the Pistons are going to be exciting this year. That's all you really want. With the Pistons, it's one thing. Because we've seen them reach the peak. We've seen them at the pinnacle. They won titles.
Yeah.
So when they do these rebuilds and they take their time, and sometimes it doesn't work, but sometimes they're just exciting to watch. I want to see that. I want to see some excitement watching the Pistons. They're a young team, young talented team.
I watched through most of the 2010s till the 2020. I guess probably to really about 2018 pretty religiously. That was a tough time to walk through.
Oh yeah.
But there was still. I mean, we still had some highlights. Don't get me wrong, but like. I mean, you were splitting wins and losses, but, again, Detroit's just one of those markets, especially with the NBA, it's a market that's tough to get people to come to Detroit, to have the money, but we've got, like, Gore and everybody's finally on board with actually, like, instead of just pretty shiny things, let's build a team. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You build teams in Detroit. You don't just surround yourself around a superstar. However, we might have some superstars in our hands as well, too. So it's exciting when this happens in groundwork, when you look back from the 2004 team and to see how that kind of built as well, too, and the excitement.
I'm down with that. B&B Pistons meet up.
Last year, the last 2 years of the first 2 years, I didn't go to a Pistons game.
Dude, I would be down with that, dude.
Absolutely.
That would be a really
There's
good
some
time.
great, you get some fucking, there's a Courtyard Marriott downtown as well, too. He's calling Uber for a ride or whatever, but You stay the night down there. That's what we usually do, and then just drink at a couple of spots down there.
Go to the old Shillelagh. That's where you got to go in downtown Detroit, man.
Shillelagh?
Have you been there?
No.
Dude, you walk into the old Shillelagh, and it just looks like a typical dive bar. You're just like, oh, nothing great. But then you go upstairs.
Oh.
There's a staircase that you can go up, and it is literally a staircase to heaven. You go up there, and I don't know if they still do this. I haven't been there in like 3 or 4 years, but they will have like an Irish band just rocking out Irish music. And I'm talking like the wooden tables and peanuts everywhere. People are slamming beers to the music. It is like you are transported to Ireland.
Oh, man.
Dude, old Shillelagh is that's a wild party, dude. Seriously, man, you walk in, you don't know what, you won't believe what's going on upstairs if you don't go up there. You go down there, and it's literally just a regular bar. You're just like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's got brick walls. You know, it's got that old-timey look. That's cool. But then you go upstairs, and that is where the party's at. And I mean, dude, there's peanut shells everywhere, and people are slamming beers to the music. You're just like, this is heaven, dude.
That sounds dope as fuck.
It is an incredible party.
So
a lot of fun. Big fan.
I don't know if it's exciting as that, but usually we end up at this one called something on Greenwich. It's like it's on one of the latitudes or longitudes, and they have like all the world clocks back there. And
it's not the Old Town Pump, is it?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Because I think it's like something on Greenwich. I don't know what the little bars, a little dive bar in downtown Detroit area. But we always hit that up. And the reason I'm a big fan going in there, minus the fact that, I mean, it's like literally a hallway. It's not very wide, which sucks. But they have like one of those. The first time I ever saw it was basically like a fireball thing, a machine on tap.
Oh.
Yeah, like I've never seen one before. Like a
fireball machine on tap?
Yeah, you just pull up. And
sounds dangerous.
Yeah, it was very dangerous. But, you know, there's always good things to do after a game that you see downtown Detroit. I mean, there's some great Greektown, whatever it is, you know,
I love
Uber walk, whatever it is. I don't get me wrong. Don't get me started on the Palace of Auburn Hills because I missed the fact that they were there. That was an 5-hour, 10-minute drive. You can get out of work and drive down for a game, no problem.
Yep.
Now you got to deal with all Detroit's bullshit. But I get the appeal. It makes sense.
It's awesome that everything's down there now, man.
It is. It's just a lot more of a hassle if you live this far north.
No, if you're going down there and when there's a Lions and a Tigers game out at the same time, good luck.
Fuck that. You got, like, honestly, at this point, because the drive's so long, and depending on how often you get down there, which I don't, I try to make it a night thing, like to stay down there. It's worth it, you know. So
always a good time, man. I like going down there, man. I mean, obviously, there's parts of Detroit that you don't wander off to, but for the most part, if you stay within that area of like Ford Field and Comerica and Little Caesars Arena,
oh man, you got tin roof
there's
there.
a lot of stuff to do down there, and you don't have to worry about getting killed. So I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. We are echoing.
Oh,
does anybody else hear the echo?
No. 7 Dungeons. Head up his ass.
Oh, it's me. Okay, thanks, Dungeons. Appreciate that. Down in Detroit, there's a great little Greek place called the Golden Fleece, and it's amazing.
I think I've been there.
Golden Fleece. I don't think I have been there.
There's some really nice like craft areas down that way as well too. I'm a big fan of the Eastern Market. I know Half-Assed Me had a stint there one time on a little date we did together, but a nice place there. Anyways, yeah, there's a lot of great stuff to do down there, and I do want to go back to Josie mentioned that Ben Wallace spotted him one time at the gym.
That's pretty amazing because Ben Wallace is amazing.
Yeah.
One of the greatest players of all time.
What was it like looking up his shorts?
I was curious. Most parts of Detroit are terrible. Come to Saginaw, dude. Come to Saginaw. I think last year, the FBI released a list. We are the 4th deadliest.
There was just released. I thought something about it too.
Yeah, we're the 4th deadliest city in the country. So Detroit, we'll hold our beer. We're gonna go out there and represent.
Great.
Do you know how awesome that is? Sometimes when you go somewhere, they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "Saginaw." And they're like, "Ooh, well, you must be hard as fuck." Yeah, I am. I'm BA, dude. I'm from the streets of Shields, Michigan. You know. Dude, you don't fuck around out in Shields, Michigan, man. You can still leave your doors unlocked, but Shields is tough, man. I, too, I'm not reading that, Brian. Absolutely not.
You should black light down here.
I think if we gather our resources, we can hit number 3 this year. If we all put our heads together, I think we could do a lot of damage.
Yeah, there you go.
Between Detroit and Saginaw, halfway to hell both ways.
I know some folks that lived that worked in the military that would come up here and work after, I guess, post-military. They used to call this part of 75 the gates of hell.
I believe it. Man.
What are you gonna do?
We're hard asses here, man. Don't fuck with us. Don't fuck with us. What have I been up to? I've been gaming, dude. I've been doing a lot of gaming. Yeah. I'm trying to get through a lot of stuff. I'm trying to finish. I'm about halfway through a Plague's Tale Innocence. I'm doing that one right now, the first one. I'm about halfway through it.
Cult following on that.
Yeah, dude, it's an interesting game. It's got stealth mechanics, but it's also not a terribly deep game. Like, it looks really good. But I'm trying to finish that before I'm able to get to Requiem. But I've really liked what I played so far of Innocence. It's got a great narrative. Like, that's where I feel like it's the strong suit. I think it's a lot of people say is it's the story that really gets you. But like, yeah, the stealth elements are there. It's not a terribly deep stealth game. You're not going to like say, you know, it's up there with, you know, either Splinter Cell or Metal Gear or anything like that. It's not that type of stealth, but it's got some cool mechanics in there, some supernatural abilities and shit like that. The rats are fucking creepy. Playing that. Another game I jumped into this week was Scorn, which is one of the big Game Pass titles.
I got to download that. Yeah.
And I don't know if Prime has played any further. I know Prime had a little bit different opinion of it than I did. But I really enjoy the atmosphere in that game. Scorn is a very gory, dark, twisted game. And it's a puzzle game. And there are some really intricate puzzles that'll make you think. And like, they're really cool how the mechanics of them.
So
and
you
how
didn't play very long.
But it's like really good mechanics to the puzzles. Like really thought-provoking stuff. Really cool atmosphere. But for whatever fucking reason, they added combat to this game that is horrible. I don't care what anyone tells me. Well, you know, it's not meant to be played as a first-person show. Dude, bad combat is bad combat. You know, it's not how you play the game. The combat is just really bad. It almost feels like it just doesn't belong in the game. I'm sitting there playing, I'm like, why is this fucking shitty combat in this game? And they're like, well, you can run around the monsters. Yeah, but they'll end up following you. And dude, I hit a loop where if you the game has just an awful checkpoint system. Really bad. Like, if it doesn't take into consideration if you've just completed like all these steps of a puzzle and then you die, you go all the way back to the beginning, so you have to go back through all the stuff. You're not even in combat. It's not like you're dying. You know, it's not like all the stuff you have to do again is like combat. It's just like mechanics of a puzzle that you figure out. Like, once you do that, you should be like, okay, cool, you've completed this step of the puzzle. Auto save. Dude, I had a point to where I got killed, and I was at a point in a puzzle where when it loaded me back in, I still only had 1 hit point left, and the enemy was right on me when I'd spawn in off my save and just die immediately. And I'm just like, dude, I am not starting this fucking chapter over. So it took me about 25 attempts, 30 attempts to when I spawned in, I was like, okay, I know he's always right here, so I gotta try to sprint to my left and get out of there before he either hits me with his melee or with his ranged attack. And finally, I was able to get away from him. And when I went around the corner, there was somebody else there, and they killed me. I was like, come on! You know, I was just so mad. And eventually, I just kept dying and running ahead until I could find, like, a health system or find ammo. And I was just like, dude, why is this combat in this game? And why is it implemented so poorly?
You're definitely not selling that game to me, though.
You don't have to. It's on Game Pass. But just like, it's like, you know, you played so many great puzzle games in the past. So the Portal games, all these puzzle games, Portal has some very nuanced combat in it. Sometimes you got to take out a laser or some shit like that using like some of the portals and whatnot. But this one, it's just like, it feels so shoehorned in. And Prime mentioned it, you know, when we were talking about it. He was like, you know, I wonder if like somebody came to them and said, hey, you got to have combat in this game. And they were like, huh? Oh, okay, we'll throw something together real quick and just do it. And you're just like, this is not good. This is bad combat. And it really takes away from the rest of it. If Scorn wasn't on Game Pass, would you be saying, no, I wouldn't be. I'd be more disappointed. I would continue to play it because I do like the mechanics of the puzzles. And I do think there is an interesting story to tell. And I love the atmosphere and the sound. Everything else about it is a great horror game. But with the combat in there, it's just like, it's so bad. And you're just like, come on, dude. Why did you guys force this? So I'm still going to make my way through it. If I had purchased it, I'd probably be a little bit more disappointed with the fact. I wouldn't say I hate the game. I would just be disappointed that it has this shitty combat forced into what is ultimately a really good puzzle game. So going to continue to play through it. We'll talk about it more. Hopefully I can finish it up this weekend. Doesn't sound like it's a very terribly long game. So my goal is to really kind of hunker down over these next couple nights and try to play some more and get it finished up. But the game that currently has my heart, Tone, is Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Played Ghostbusters Spirit Unleashed last night for quite some time. I'm talking like I got home, started playing at like 6, and it get done to like 11:30, 12.
Right.
I hopped on and I played with Cuddles and Trick and Cody, and we ran some missions. We did and we were capturing ghosts. We were having a good time. And then everyone got off, and I was like, fuck, I'm going to go sit on the couch. And I played it again and did a couple more quick plays. I, again, really like this game. And I think Ilphonic is really starting to master this genre. Like, they are really becoming that good at it. We've seen it with Predator Hunting Grounds, and we've seen it with the other game. Like, they get it. You know what I'm saying? They just get it. The things that I like about it right now, this is an early impression, not a full-on review, but first of all, the crossplay works seamlessly. It works really good.
Like the Blood for whatever, Back for Blood? Because that worked really good, too.
This one's actually really good. All you have to do really is just make sure that you have your PlayStation account, Xbox account, and everything tied to your Epic Games. Okay. And then when you log in, you just go to My Friends. Oh, yeah. Well, that's not because of the crossplay. That's because something with the game itself. But like you pull up your friends list on your whatever console you're on, you'll see those people, and then you go to friends on other platforms, they'll have their list of names and everything. So that really works good. The only issue we had with the crossplay per se was something going on with with playing online in a group within the quick play. If you hop into quick play with a full squad, I was getting booted out. But if we played in a mode where we just selected the individual map, we were able to play fine. So clearly something with the quick play needs to get patched up so it works a little bit better. But in terms of like finding your friends online, it's a lot better than something like Predator Hunting Grounds. I don't even know. Does that even work? Did crossplay ever get enabled?
Did they
Prime
figure out crossplay at all?
Jalen Duran, 8 years old, first pro game, youngest player in Pistons history to record a double-double. Damn, he had a double-double tonight.
18 years old.
Dang, good for him.
That's fucking hype, Prime.
But like going back to this, a couple of things I like. The proton packs, the presentation here is fucking brilliant.
Listen, I watched Cuddles play this for about an hour and a half, 2 hours before I had, and I was like, listen, I'm usually doing different things during the stream. This game was getting me bad. Like I kept like going like, huh? And like watching it when he was the ghost, like possessing shit, running and turning and like jumping into like a fucking thing.
Yep.
I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. Like I was having a blast just watching it. I'm like, oh fuck, I can't wait to play this.
Yeah.
So.
No, it does. Like I said, the presentation is very respectful of the source material. The proton packs look, sound, and feel awesome to control. The created character system is actually really good. I created a character and I went into Cuddle's game and he's like, let me see what you look like. And he goes, Jesus, he looks like the dude. I mean, you can seriously dude look like the dude. Yeah, it's a really, really good creative character system if you really want to put yourself in there, and there's some good stuff. Like look, it's a $40 game. You're not getting like a deep RPG, but there's enough customization there to really set yourself apart from other people and create somebody to your likeness and what it looks like, kind of like a caricature of yourself with the art style.
It's a little cartoony, but like, hey, it looks like the kind of more like the cartoon.
It does. It looks like the real Ghostbusters
which is
cartoon.
Fine, which
That's
is
awesome.
Perfectly great. And honestly, like Predator was $40. Think how much time we put in during the pandemic between me, you, and Trick playing that.
When that thing came out, we played that shit a lot, like for hours upon hours. Like it was really, really good.
When we were in furlough, there were nights where we would get on like 7, 8 o'clock and be up to like 2 a.m. playing that fucking game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, because they get it.
Yeah. Another thing that I like about are the gear upgrades. Now, look, we powered through quite a bit last night. I got up to level 26, and I think 50 might be the max, or it might be a couple levels higher than that. But in a matter of like 5 hours, like I was powering through. I mean, there's a challenge system that grants you a lot of XP. So as you're completing these certain challenges, you can get a lot of XP that gets added in. So you can rank up pretty quick as long as you're doing the challenges and doing what you're supposed to be doing in game, doing the little things as a Ghostbuster to earn points. You can collect mold, spores, and funguses on the map that gives you XP. So like I said, they use all aspects of the movies and all the cool little nods and whatnot to really include it and make it useful in the game. But the gear upgrades feel very beneficial, improving like how quickly your tether can capture a ghost.
Right.
Like, if you can boost the strength or the cooldown, but that might mean it'll take longer for it to actually tether the ghost.
Sure.
You can improve like the trap and the PKE meter and all this stuff. There's a lot of things that you can upgrade. Yes, the toaster in the firehouse does bounce. I was like, dude, if I find a pool table, it better have the toaster on it from 2. and if you go upstairs, the toaster's on, and it'll actually bounce around.
That's awesome.
It's fucking, it's awesome. Can you imagine the Seagal as a Ghostbuster? Yeah, Cuddle's character looks like Steven Seagal.
He does.
It looks like a spitting image of Steven Seagal. So the gear upgrades are good. You feel more powerful as you're ranking up. Obviously, with this game, it's like with all these games. My concern right now is I think there's only 5 or 6 maps. It might just be 5. And there's only one mode. And so longevity comes into question. We're already halfway through the level 50 rankings. We have 5 maps, 1 mode. So I mean, what kind of legs does this game have? Now, look, if you want to say, hey, it's a $40 game and, you're not going to be playing for super long, that's fine. But if it's a fun fucking game, if it's something I'm going to be playing a lot of, I do want a little. I get it. These games aren't meant to be played with friends. They are. But I like it, and it can still get boring. If you're only playing the same maps, you're not getting any more challenges or anything like that, you got to have variety. So I don't think they've released a roadmap yet. I don't think they've really discussed the post-launch plans on what they plan to do. But, look, I want this game to be a good live service game where it's constantly getting content and weapons and characters. $4 for what you get isn't worth it right now. The cheap or indie games do the same thing. Like $40, I think it's a good price for this game. I think this is a really good game for $40. But I really enjoy it, so I really hope there's more incentive to keep playing once you get. Obviously in Predator Hunting Grounds, they raised the level cap many times.
Yeah, and they IllFonic kept up on that, and they were like at some point once we got
they got like team deathmatch and shit in there now too.
Not only that, but they were pretty big about communication out the gate. Yep. So I certainly agree with you on that. Like $40. Listen, $40 is a great price for any game, even like this. I mean, they could have charged $60 for it, and people would still have paid for it, right? But there just isn't enough content. $40, unfortunately, with inflation and with the way the industry, how much it costs to get games. Guess what, guys? It's kind of the reality of these kind of games. So we just got to still kind of get used to it. We can go back and forth and measure what we weigh with our dollar for what we're getting worth out of hours or whatever like that. But it's just the reality of the world we live in at this point, too. Maybe 10, 15 years ago would have been a $30 game because a lot of games like that, I think, were. But it's just a part of it, But, I mean, if you've got already in 2 days, Cuddles is level 44, put 3, 5, 8 hours into it, I mean, that's a good start, right? But, I think these games, once you get through those levels and you get that time into it, it is going to look like, okay, now what do we have for a roadmap? Or, certainly sitting around drinking and playing these games on a weekend night, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to forget about that 40 real fast because you're having laughs, you're having a good time, like we did for that 2 nights for Evil Dead. So,
yeah, that was more failed by the changes that they made to the game. Right. But, the core gameplay loop is there. It's got fun mechanics, and it does require a lot of teamwork. If you go in there and play solo and you're not working as a team where, everyone knows that if you get 2 or 3 streams on it, then have somebody else throw the trap. You got to really coordinate to have the best part. Because as this game continues to grow and as they continue to rank up, the ghosts are going to get tougher. The people are going to get better at playing the ghosts. So you're going to really need to start to communicate the longer into this game's life cycle. So, again, there's a lot of promise to this game. And if Predator Hunting Grounds is any indicator, we'll get content. We need some more maps. We need some more characters. We need some more gear. And more customization stuff. I think this is a really, really fun game. I really enjoyed playing it. I look forward to playing it on Friday night. Hopefully everyone can hop on. It should be a fun stream. We'll get drunk. We'll catch some ghosts. But no, very strong early on impressions with the same concerns I have with all these games is longevity. And Michael on Facebook said, replayability is the biggest factor these days, especially for a live service game. A game that's online, replayability is huge. And even if you're having fun, and if you're playing every weekend, eventually 5 maps is going to grow old.
Yeah, I certainly agree.
If you can't rank up and you can't, improve your character further, you don't have that carrot on the end of the stick, it will lose steam.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. At this point, we've been through a few of these kind of games as well, too. So, I definitely think that, we'll probably get a roadmap real soon. I think the initial Well, it's just good that at least the initial feelings from you guys playing it seems mostly positive. Like Cuddle said, he was against the $40 originally, then he's playing it.
He's having a blast.
He's having a good time with it as well, too. I think somebody out there, Seven, said something about being similar to Dead by Daylight. I mean, a lot of these games, I mean, it is kind of similar, I suppose, right?
They all have the same, like, concept, but the mechanics of it are vastly different.
And what's free and what's not. I think it just comes down to, like, where you weigh your dollar. Like, because there's a piece of me, like, we've talked recently, Callisto Protocol's coming out. It's a 12 to 15 hour game, and they want full $70 for it. But there's some like replayability modes. I don't really replay games unless it's a live service because there's a grind involved.
Right.
So like depending on how that looks like, and I'm still trying to keep my my objectivity open until the game comes out, of course too. But like, gosh, if I'm paying $70 for a 12, 15 hour game and I don't really feel like playing through it again, that's frustrating as well too. So it works on all ends of that spectrum, I think too. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll definitely be curious to get people's thoughts as they continue to pick up Ghostbusters and play through it and experience it for themselves. Let us know if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify. Let us know in the comments what you think of Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. It's currently available now on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. It's got cross-play. I don't know if it's cross-save or cross-progression. I didn't look into that.
That's a good question.
But cross-play is a thing. And it's been a lot of fun. So I'll be really curious to get people's thoughts, and we'll be streaming it on Friday night. We go a bunch of us in a room and just goofing around and busting ghosts because busting feels so good.
Busting makes me feel good.
I certainly feel real fucking good.
Ain't afraid no ghosts.
Ain't afraid of no ghosts. So that's our video game segment this week. We'll have more to talk about next week. Mario and Rabbids comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 campaign comes out tomorrow. Not the multiplayer. The full-on launch is next week. But if you pre-ordered that game, you get access to the campaign beginning tomorrow. And then also, I'll be curious to hear thoughts from Trick and King Cuddles. They are picking up Gotham Knights on Friday. So that's another big title dropping
this weekend as well too.
Oh, really?
I don't know if I'll get a chance to it, but
ooh! Before
we leave the Ghostbusters, tell them about the Twinkie.
What about the Twinkie? I'm able to fix the cross-platform. Yeah, I mean, that's just something they need to address with the Quick Play because it's something specific to Quick Play because if you can join in a group and play the individual matches, it seems to be working fine. But Quick Play, for whatever reason, we were getting booted out. So hopefully they'll have an update out here in the next day or two before the weekend so people can jump into those Quick Play matches.
Cody's got it. Maybe that means that we'll get some drunk Cody soon, so that's really exciting.
Dude, it was funny when we got in last night. Like, Cuddles, Trick, and I had already ranked up quite a bit, so we had, like, our characters were a little bit more unique. And Cody's just in there level 1, just like a fresh new Ghostbuster. He just got a little dude in his new little Ghostbuster outfit and his hair, and he's just like very professional. He's trying to impress all the old guys.
Right.
Drunk Cody is awesome.
Drunk Cody is good
people. The world would be a better place if everyone was a drunk Cody.
We have more drunk Codys.
The more drunk Codys, the better.
Yep.
All right, Tone.
Big fan.
Time to jump in to our first major topic. Today was a big day, and we didn't even know about it until yesterday. Konami put on their first Silent Hill transmission, and I don't know how fucking long, dude. I can't remember the last time Konami did anything video game related.
I can't remember the last time I cared.
Konami's still very much hated by most gamers. But when they do run out something like Castlevania or Silent Hill, everyone just seems to give them the Nintendo treatment. Oh, you're back. We love you. Oh, we love you. You guys are back. Great games. We love your stuff. Dude, if they ran out a new Castlevania that looked dope, you'd be like, yeah!
Metal Gear.
See? It's just how it works with them, man.
It's
like
a
bunch of scumbags, but then they do one good thing. They put out one of their fucking awesome IPs, and you're just like, okay, all's forgiven. Unless it's a total shit show, and then you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot. I knew why I hated you guys.
Yeah,
but, okay, so Tone, we
yeah.
had... What's really interesting about this is they made this sound like this was a Silent Hill transmission, like a live stream. And I was like, oh, cool, it's going to be a live stream. They uploaded a 48-minute video where everyone could just kind of scrub through all the announcements and find what they wanted to find. Very, very interesting choice. You can tell Konami does not do very many live streams because they just basically uploaded a 48-minute video and let people just kind of scrub through and find the shit they wanted to find.
They missed the memo how it works.
When it's your first live stream since 1998, it's expected.
It's true.
All right, so Tone, the first thing they let off with, and this is something that we've been hearing about. We've heard a lot of rumors about who's making what and where Silent Hill is going to happen next. And the first thing that they ran out there during this this transmission is we are getting a Silent Hill 2 remake. Arguably the most popular Silent Hill game ever. It's the one that people really feel it's like it defined the series.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. You had what's a guy, the awesome with the cone head?
Pyramid Head.
Pyramid Head. I mean, a lot of people love Silent Hill 2. I have never played it. I know a lot of people love it, and so I'm like, dude, I want to play this now because it looks really good.
Yeah.
We found out that this is being developed by Bloober Team,
which has got a lot of people in a little tizzy.
They of Layers of Fear, Blair Witch, and The Medium fame. Now, here's my thing with Bloober Team, dude. I've always enjoyed their storytelling. I think they're actually really good storytellers. I think they do a really good job writing their stories. It's the technical aspects of their games that leave a lot to be desired. A lot of these games don't typically run super great unless it's on a super high-end PC. Like, they're way more demanding than they really should be on consoles. I remember playing Layers of Fear on console, and I was like, this thing's running at like 12 frames per second towards the end during like the big climactic ending, and it was just like an utter disaster. And I was just like, oh no, this isn't good. But their storytelling is really, really well done. Like, I respect their storytelling. And we did find out that this will be running on Unreal Engine 5.
Which is what you need to hear these days.
I really am happy to hear that. So they're using a very reliable engine that people say is very, very user-friendly. So we should see that alleviate a lot of the technical issues that sometimes plague their games.
Great.
So if it's a good running game and it looks good, which it does, it looks great. I don't know if you saw some of the scenes outside with the fog.
Yeah, man.
Like, it looks fucking really good.
Didn't see Sean Bean, but yeah, let's go.
Oh, man, Sean Bean. That's right. He was in the movie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But we do know that Bloober Team is developing a full remake of Silent Hill 2 with the help of the original team silent artist Masahiro Ito and composer Akira Yamaoka.
Which is a huge deal.
Huge deal. There's a lot of people that were really excited that these two were involved. So you have some of the core players of that franchise, some of the core brilliant minds who are going to be a part of this remake. So that's always good to hear, because people are going to a lot of people at Bloober Team are going to be like, look, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? They got good people to go to when they have questions. The remake will retell the story of James Sunderland, who is looking for his dead wife, who sent him a mysterious letter from the town of Silent Hill. Konami and Bloober are promising a fully reworked game using new technology and delivered in 4K, built in Unreal Engine 5.
Let's go.
Now, there was a couple more details that popped up over on the PlayStation blog. We did find out that this is exclusive to PlayStation 5 in terms of consoles, but it'll also be on Steam. And, of course, in the trailer, at the very beginning, at the very end where it says exclusive to PlayStation, right underneath that says 12 months from now, it'll appear on other platforms. So it'll eventually come to Xbox and wherever else, but for the first 12 months for console, it'll be on PlayStation only, but it'll also be on PC.
So PC and PlayStation release day one, same time?
Yes, sir. Right there. Steam and PlayStation 5 day one, 12 months later, Xbox and everybody else.
Sweet. Awesome.
But Matsus Lennart, the creative director and lead designer from Bloober, hopped over on the PlayStation blog, and there's a couple other tidbits here for fans who have Silent Hill 2 who have played it. This will probably be interesting to them. One of the new elements that you could spot in the reveal trailer is the adoption of an over-the-shoulder camera. With that change, we want to immerse players even deeper into the game, make them feel like they are a part of this unreal world, and deliver them a more visceral experience across the board. Interesting. Okay. Where's that at? There it is. One change often brings another. This is Leonard still talking. With a new perspective, we're rebuilding the combat system and certain set pieces, among other things. So now this is a remake, which means they'll tweak things, make it more modern so you don't have to rely on the old controls. I'm okay with that. There are a lot of games that I try to go back and play now where I'm just like, I can't fucking do it with these controls, dude. They're terrible. So modernize the controls, but can keep the core elements that made the game so popular. He continues to say the revival. Now, this is interesting here, too. The revival of the Silent Hill series does not end with Silent Hill 2. We have announced not just the remake of a past classic, but also multiple titles with all new stories. The creation of new games is what truly brings the franchise back.
So Konami's doubling down on this?
Looks like this is a full-on reboot of not just this remake, but a reboot of the franchise. Like, they're getting and it's obvious when we continue with this transmission. Last thing they mentioned was, we will create new games for the series together with those who were a part of Silent Hill, but also with creators who love the franchise.
Oh, don't tell me.
We will expand our partnerships and broaden the world of Silent Hill together with teams that love the series from around the globe. So that is really interesting here. We're going to see more games being built, new stories being built within the Silent Hill universe. Konami is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. They're all in on Silent Hill.
Well, let's do that with some fucking Castlevania too, bro. Let's go. What up? No, that's exciting.
Yeah, and we heard this a couple months back. There were rumors going around that Konami was really pumping out their IPs, licensing them out to other developers, other publishers
that was the thing.
to create games. And dude, this whole show proves that. After that, we got to see a trailer for Silent Hill Ascension, an immersive project where participants from around the world will control the characters in a new Silent Hill story. This is interesting. It's a live, real-time interactive streaming series intended to be watched together by millions of fans as the story unfolds.
What?
Silent Hill Ascension is a collaboration between GenVid Entertainment, Bad Robot Games, J.J. Abrams, Behavior Interactive, and DJ2 Entertainment. The series will be available to stream in 2023. J.J. Abrams left a quote here saying, GenVid's experience presents a wild, epic, and innovative new way to immerse yourself in the horrors of Silent Hill. The series art director, Chris Amaro from Bad Robot Games, promised to maintain the tone and the feeling that the fans have come to love from the franchise, while also adding the developer's own twist of an oppressed, tormented, and morose dimension of reality. End quote. I don't know how this works. Somebody mentioned that this is very similar to Let's Play Pokemon or something like that. There's something like you can stream it and people can interact and be a part and play a part in deciding how the story plays out. So this will be a streaming event. This sounds wild, and I agree with Cherry. It's either going to be amazing or it's going to be shit.
I think it's 6 in one, 6 in the other. Exactly.
Interesting what Tricky says. So RP Silent Hill. I don't know about RP, but it sounds almost like it's something like playing The Quarry or the Man of Medan.
Like live.
Yeah,
that's
playing
exactly
it live, and you're sitting there deciding, making decisions, choices. And maybe it weighs out the crowd, like who decides.
Somebody killed Brad Pitt. Why?
Which is cool. That's an interesting idea. But I do like, I mean, that's cool. Nobody has to play it. You just all watch it together as the game plays out. So maybe it's just like AI that's reading all the people's responses. So you are essentially deciding it or the outcome. That's pretty interesting, dude.
Except for Deadpool 2, House.
What do you have to say? Brad Pitt never dies. That's right. He was the
Joe Black.
Like the Black Mirror movie. There was a game on the 360 or the one like that. Depending on what the players did, it changed the game. They had a TV show.
Is that 1 versus 100 or something like that?
Wasn't it There was one that had a show on Sci-Fi, and it was like an MMO, not an MMO, but oh, dude, that's gonna drive me nuts. There was a game. I remember there was a game that also had a show on Sci-Fi, and the story played alongside the game. Defiance. Yeah, Defiance. I remember that game.
Well, Defiance was just the MMO. I mean, they had a TV series, but it
I think what it did is it looked at what was going on in the MMO, like not like individual stuff, but like the overarching
some
story or whatever. I don't know.
It would kind of trail a little bit because remember Prime and I were big Defiance guys. We were.
Oh, you were a Defiance guy?
Oh,
yes.
Don't want to talk about it actually.
Prime says Defiance was bad fun.
Dude.
Defiance was fun for like a day, says Anhouse.
That's some of my favorite third-person video game of all time.
Oh, wow.
The combat and everything was so great in it.
Really?
It was Gears of War kind of gameplay, but in an MMO, in a sci-fi MMO. And yeah, it was sick. We were hooked bad on that for a hot minute. Plus, you had Imagine Dragons doing the commercials, so cool.
Was Imagine Dragons doing the commercials?
Yeah.
Oh.
They did that Radioactive song.
Defiance 2050 didn't do it justice.
No, because it was literally, they made it sound like they were going to like reboot the game and like, all this other stuff. And it was literally the same fucking game, just like with some HD added. That's all it was. That was fucking dumb.
That's how you reboot it, man. Or is that a remake? Or is that a reboot?
I
can't remember. There's so many.
That discussion blew my mind last week. So
all right. So moving on to the next game that was announced. Silent Hill.
It was a rerun.
Townfall. Townfall. Now, this one, we don't know much about this one yet, but this is a new spin-off developed by No Code Studios, who is renowned for Stories Untold, and publisher Annapurna Interactive. Now, Annapurna puts out some really good stuff. They tend to publish some very popular, well-received games. This is a new project that will be a unique take on the Silent Hill franchise with a highly decorated AA developer. Creative director John McKellen has teased that more information will be revealed in the new year. So we don't really know much about this game. The trailer is a little bit vague. There's no gameplay in it at all. But, hey, this is what we're talking about, or this is what Konami was planning when they were talking about kicking out their IPs for everyone to use and to create games, allowing some of these other developers, both big and small, to kind of like put their own spin on the Silent Hill genre or the Silent Hill IP and maybe push out some slightly different types of games.
And almost kind of like create like a Silent Hill verse.
A little Silent verse. I like that. A little Silent Hill Townfall. Don't know much about this. Don't have a release date. We just know that it's being developed by No Code Studios and published by Annapurna Interactive.
Interesting.
There was another Silent Hill game that came out. I was not able to get to the trailer in time. It's called Silent Hill F. It sounds like it's going to be kind of a graphic novel type of game. My understanding, what I was reading about, and it's going to be a graphic novel, like a little bit more, I don't want to say gritty, but yeah, a little bit more involved.
Interesting.
So I don't know much about Silent Hill F. We'll see if we can get some information and bring that up next week if it turns out to be something of that's very, very important. The last thing that we saw, Tone, Return to Silent Hill. And it's hilarious, man, when they brought this up. They're like, oh, Silent Hill returns to the big screen. The next entry in the Silent Hill series of movies. We're bringing back Christopher Gans, the director of the first Silent Hill, which has a 31 Metacritic rating. He's making the third movie in the series with Return to Silent Hill. Details are being kept under wraps for now, but it does sound like this might be based off Silent Hill 2. But Konami is promising more information about the project at a later date. So it's so funny that they're like, oh, we're bringing back director Christopher Gans when like the first Silent Hill just got completely trashed by critics. I don't think it was
the first one.
Yeah,
I actually like the first.
Is it pretty good? I've never seen it. I just know that it didn't do well critically. I don't think it did very well
what
commercially.
Video game movie ever does really, but I mean,
That's
especially still during that era. But I don't think the first one first one deviates a lot from some of the original. I know that's a lot of things that I take issues when you're making media, like how much you deviate, right?
Sure.
Too much liberties just makes it feel like a different product, and I think that was part of people's issues with that, and I respect that. I didn't hate that movie. I actually don't mind the first one.
Okay. I should probably actually sit down and watch it because
it's
got Sean Bean.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, hey, if you say it's good, I'm gonna hold it to you.
There's worse movies out there to watch that are in that horror genre.
No, there are a lot of bad movies.
A lot of bad movies. So yeah,
a lot of bad movies like Halloween Kills. Hey, Cuddles got us the description of Silent Hill F. During the Silent Transmission, Konami announced the next core game in the Silent Hill franchise, Silent Hill F, which will be developed by Resident Evil Reverse developer Neobards Entertainment. The game's story will be penned by famed Japanese writer Ryukishi 7, the author of When They Cry visual novel series. Motoi Akamoto, who previously worked at Nintendo from 1998 to 2007, has been named a producer on the project. Oh, so this is a core game.
In the series.
Okay, so this is like the next big entry.
Interesting. I don't know what came out. I don't know what was the last one that came out. I know The Room sometimes gets a lot of. That was Silent Hill, right? I know some of the Silent Hills don't always do well, but there were some people that actually liked like Homecoming and stuff like that on 360. Like, that wasn't a terrible entry, but
there was even one on the Vita. There was a Silent Hill game on the Vita.
Was it Homecoming though?
I don't think it was Homecoming.
No,
Brian, what was the one on Vita? I know there was a Silent Hill
when
something.
Cries
on
Wildly
Vita.
Twisted. Well, he knows all the weirdest shit in the world. So if he's
when Brian says, when he says something is wildly twisted, prepare yourself.
Yeah.
Not for the squeamish. Book of Memories. Thank you.
Book of Memories.
Okay. Silent Hill Book of Memories. I remember I played that and it didn't really do anything for me because it was just not the Silent Hill that I thought it was going to be.
Fair enough.
Still a valiant effort.
Fair enough, Gypsy.
But no, dude, there was like I said, it's awesome to see the Silent Hill IP kind of like explode here. Konami is clearly like you said, doubling down, and they're ready to push out more Silent Hill, and they aren't holding back. That's 4 video games and a movie they announced.
That's an interesting choice of the series to go with. And I two things I think why, kind of not really two things, but. First of all, I know why they probably don't touch Castlevania, which is I feel like more like broad, better for them to go into. I feel like initially, all right, out the gate, first video games. But I know Koji's not involved anymore, things of that nature. But which sucks because I of course love Castlevania games, but I think a couple reasons I guess really why Silent Hill is their choice because I think one, first of all. I feel like the horror genre right now just generally is kind of like in this like new phase. Like we're seeing all these different studios come out and do like more psychological horror. Like now is a good time maybe for a Silent Hill reboot or just get it back out there, right?
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of things like Resident Evil's getting remade out there. They're seeing that. They're seeing the success of that. But I almost kind of wonder as well too, and I know this is just me being me, but you know, clearly this isn't PT. You know,
nope.
Clearly we're not going to see Hideo involved at all as well too. And I almost kind of wonder if that's why they chose this as well too, because they knew and saw how upset a lot of people were when that just kind of crumbled and didn't happen, and how people still see just from that fucking tech demo to do Silent Hill.
I'm sure that played a part in it. But I do think what you mentioned, how like horror games and cuddle set, they're hot right now. I mean, they are. It is a with Dead Space and Callisto Protocol and all these other games, kind of like getting things going.
Right.
Resident Evil 7 did so well, and so did Village. You know, it's just like there's a lot of love for horror right now. And I mean, like, I'm almost to the point, dude, where I don't know if I want anyone to bring Koji in or I feel like we had our window, we had our opportunity for that game. And, you know, anything else would just be like, I feel like the magic is gone.
You mean you said Hideo, right?
Yeah.
Hideo. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. But what I'm saying is I just feel like they know that of all the ones they could go into, because they've done movies already, this is the franchise probably to really go full in on, because they've already spread that in the media, you know, through different mediums. So, you know, whereas the other ones maybe not so much. I mean, we got the Castlevania animes, which are absolutely fantastic, but I think by and large Silent Hill is more for general people, more recognizable. And yeah, certainly right now horror stuff is fucking hot, so strike right now, I guess. So it's just crazy to see Konami actually out there at the end of the day. That's the weirdest thing for me to see. That I didn't think we'd ever see this day come.
I just, you know, I think the thing for me that I'm most excited about is Bloober Team using a very good engine compared to the stuff they'd use. I think they got onto Unreal Engine 4 at some point, but the stuff that they used prior to that, their in-house engine, which just wasn't very good. So the fact that they're going to have a good engine to work with, that'll allow, you know, hopefully make it a little bit easier for them to make a technically sound game, and couple that with their ability to write. And since they're not probably able to deviate too much from the story of Silent Hill 2, you know, they'll put their own little spin on some certain things. I feel like this is an opportunity for them to do their best work as a developer.
And maybe they'll change, because like I said, the lot of the threads I had saw, people were complaining actually that Bloober Team was involved in this.
I mean, like, look, the criticisms levied against them, I feel like they're justified. You know, like their games are just technically speaking just not very good games unless you're running on the highest event. I mean, there are still people on high-end PCs that are even mid-high PCs that struggle to run these games because they're just poorly optimized. And I don't know if it had anything to do with their inexperience or inability to program and optimize, or if it was the engine they were using prior to Unreal 4. But we've heard so many people and developers talk about Unreal 5 and how it's accessible and it makes it easier. Hopefully, you know, coupling that with their ability to pen a good story, this could be a good thing for Bloober Team. Most of the complaints I saw were about Bloober's writing, probably because it's not as straightforward as people like. Bloober Team's writing is actually really, really good, in my opinion.
I don't know the specifics on either of what people were complaining about, but people were certainly, like I said,
some of their games are slower burns. I mean, they have the required scares and shit, but there is like some decent like good storytelling in there.
Yeah.
The Medium was such a great experience. Yeah, seriously, that's one of their games that just, it was baffling the way that it ran so bad.
Well, who knows? Again, maybe they get their hands on using something like Unreal that is user-friendly and requires so little amount of resources to do. You know, maybe that's, you know, and Silent Hill's a weird kind of story or whatever, and who knows? Maybe this will turn Bloober into something different. We'll see.
They say Bloober portrays mental illness poorly in their games. I think that's subjective.
I do remember that being a thing, actually, now that he mentions that.
Trying to remember which game. No, look, I did not play Blair Witch. I don't know how much that delve into mental illness. There was another one of their games that I didn't play either, but I did play the Layers of. It might have been one of the Layers of Fear games. I don't think I played 2, just because the first one was just, you know, it was a cool game, but it just ran so poorly at the end. It really kind of ruined the ending for me. How bad that game ran. I was just like, dude.
Not to be confused with Fear for the PS3 and 360, which you were a huge fan of.
Fear games are actually really good.
Yeah. It's a shame that they just.
Well, I mean, what was there? There was Fear 1, 2, and I think 3 was I actually thought 3 was all right.
The really creepy one. Yeah, with the fucking little kid.
Yeah, that one was really fucked up. The Evil Within 1 and 2 were a lot of fun. Those Evil Within games were really, really good.
Didn't have people from Resident Evil work on those titles?
I believe so. I believe I think there was a couple of bigwigs actually that worked on that. So, all right, Tone. Let's hop over to our next topic. We got some more MCU news. Last week it was Blade. This week, Harry. We found out this week. It's official. There were some rumors about it last week. I know. Look at that, man. He's so cute. You're so cute.
Really good shampoo.
We found out this week that it's official. Harrison Ford has been cast as Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in Captain America 4 New World Order, as well as the Thunderbolts. He will be taking on the role of Thunderbolt Ross, replacing William Hurt, who died back in March at the age of 71. After William Hurt died, Harrison Ford had basically been at the forefront of everybody at MCU or at Disney and whatnot. Like, this is who we need to have. This is who they want to have as Thunderbolt Ross. But Tone, I'm going to come to you first. I mean, obviously, like, look, say what you will about William Hurt, the man himself. I actually really liked him as Thunderbolt Ross. I thought he played that stoic, very gritty, no-nonsense son of a bitch. He played him very, very well. And I feel like he created a memorable version of Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty torn on this because of that.
I want to get your thoughts. I mean, we're all fans.
Right. I just think my listen, he's older than William Hurt. So the timeline's short here. So
I don't know, man. He just did Indy 5. And
I know. But I'm just saying, like, first of all, you better grow a mustache at the very least, right? But I just, gosh, I'm excited about it because it's Harrison Ford, but I also always worry about things because I feel like sometimes he just dials it in. And my problem is with that is because I think he just does that mostly with Star Wars, and I think it bleeds for me because we know he loves Indy. I mean,
yep.
And that's great that he loves Indy because Indy's a great character to love. And there's other things he's done I know he really enjoys as well too. But I just feel like we could have maybe found somebody who looked more like William Hurt a little bit.
Sure.
Because here's the thing: they said, when Chadwick died, we're not recasting anybody. They're not recast. You know what I mean? And Crash kind of brought that up. He's like, I thought MCU weren't recasting people. I said, kind of what I thought too. So that means, which is good, I think, is that the character Thunderbolt was really planned on being what he should be in like the materials and stuff like that. It was like, Red Hulk and all this other stuff. So there should be more involved in him in the story. So I guess it's important enough that they had to recast him. So I get that. But it's weird for me because it is a mix because I'm like, I don't want him to come in here and dial it in though either. And I'm not saying that he necessarily will, but I'm also saying he's pretty fucking old,
right?
So it is kind of like a bold move to do, and I guess it's kind of got to target that right look or whatever it is in too. So I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I just worry about how much it's just gonna like kind of feel like it's not William Hurt. I mean, William Hurt certainly is not fucking Harrison Ford,
right?
Don't get me wrong, and he'll probably come in here and do a great job at it as well too. But I don't know. I'm kind of torn on it.
I think part of it first of all, I think they can recast Thunderbolt just because, like, look, Thunderbolt up to this point has been more of a side character in most of the movies.
Well, but I mean, Incredible Hulk, he was so fucking awesome.
He was, and don't get me wrong, he was, but he wasn't like Black Panther.
Sure.
I mean, we didn't see a Thunderbolt Ross movie. I mean, he's just there, and he's one of those characters where I feel like it's almost like the same with Don Cheadle's character. And before that it was Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
And you just kind of like recast him. You're like, okay, he's recasted because War Machine wasn't a top tier Avenger. He was just kind of like one of those guys that he plays an important part to one of the main characters. He's there, he's helping, and he's in all the movies, and that's great. Whereas Black Panther with Chadwick Boseman, that was iconic. You know what I'm saying? That was just, we've had multiple different Hulks. That's another great point.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, look, and also I can't help but wonder, and this is just how I know Disney and Hollywood in general looks at stuff. When you have an actor like Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, these are good actors. They're good actors. They're not A-listers yet.
Right.
These are not big name players yet. They're working their way up. They've got the appeal. They've got the it factor. They've shown that they can carry stuff. But I can tell you right now, for anybody who is not super familiar with, Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan, they might look at this and be like, I mean, it doesn't have Chris Evans. You know, he's not Cap. Anthony Mackie is Cap, and I really like him as that, and I like Sebastian Stan in his role, and I think they're all going to be awesome together. But you don't have that big A-lister in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now you do. Even though he's 89,000 years old, it's Harrison Ford. And when you can stamp Harrison Ford's name on a poster, that's going to bring people out.
Yeah, and you know, everybody out there talking about the recasting too, which honestly, I kind of forgot about some of that as well too. And now you look at it too. To be fair, like now you can't imagine Don Cheadle not being War Machine, right? Things of the nature as well too. But like I said, for me, it's more about just like don't dial it in, right? You know what I mean? I mean, forget, So I always forget this too. That shit. Fucking Tommy Lee Jones was in the MCU.
That's right. Yeah, he was in
Just a blip.
Yep.
And Captain. You know what I mean? And that's a big name too. So clearly the good news is for this and why I am excited about it. It's less maybe more about necessarily Harrison, just more about the character. Was this means that they were really gonna do some things with that character that they needed to do.
He wasn't always going to be a side character.
Right. And it's actually SheHulk name dropped more or less that character recently as well too. So it's good that at least they're going to be doing that as well. So I guess we'll see. But like I said, I'm still kind of torn on it as well too. But I'm certainly not opposed because it is Harrison Ford. But people out there just mentioned something about, I think Cherry said something that she can't imagine with him. You got to imagine Fugitive is one of my all-time favorite fucking movies,
man,
and he was a bushy
so
beard motherfucker for
he had that beard for a second when he was
or so,
Dr. Richard Kimball.
That movie's
amazing, dude.
That movie is still amazing.
That like pinnacle 90s action. That was like really
an incredible fucking film.
Him and Tommy Lee Jones just going. I mean, that was cat and mouse, just one-on-one, dude, and some of the best there was.
So good.
But like, I didn't kill my wife. You find that man. No, like the other reason I am excited about this with being Harrison Ford is because it's not Han Solo, it's not Indy, it's not Deckard. This is something kind of new for him, where maybe it won't be him phoning it in. I mean, I'm not saying he phones it in all of his movies, but it's easy for him to play Indiana Jones. It's easy for him to play Han Solo, where it might be kind of boring at times. Whereas you say, hey, look, man, you're Thunderbolt in the MCU. Maybe he'll take that. I'm like, okay, look, here's something fresh for me.
Right.
He knows how William Hurt played the character, but he's going to have to do his own thing a little, put his own spin on it. And if anyone can do gruff, it's this guy right here. So I'm actually very optimistic about it. I'm actually very happy with this casting, and I like it because it gives Harrison Ford something else to do other than just walk into someplace big. Okay, how much are you going to pay me to play a Han Solo?
Right.
How much are you going to pay me to just walk through the numbers and go through the motions of Han Solo or Deckard or some shit like that? So I'm really excited. Plus, this guy is just my childhood. This guy represents everything that I love about cinema and my childhood. Guy's an icon. So, yeah, hopefully they can get these movies shot. I think New World Order comes out in 2024 as well as Thunderbolt. So, thankfully, the two movies he's making is in 2 years. So, I'm sure between now and 2 years, he should be in good shape to be able to carry through these movies. Stunt doubles are great, too. So if he has to run, I'm sure they'll have somebody else a little bit more nimble.
One of my favorite Harrison Ford stories is when he was filming Last Crusade. He's riding the horse with the tanks and shoving the stuff in the tanks. He had to staple the hat to his head because it kept flying off.
He stapled it to his head?
Stapled the hat to his head.
Tell me, if that motherfucker ain't tough, what is it? I mean, Crash mentioned he walked away from a goddamn plane crash. The guy could crash a plane on a golf course and just be like, ugh. It's like Indy. It's like at the end of, or at the beginning of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, when he gets shot across the desert after the nuclear blast, and he rolls out of the refrigerator when he should just pour out like soup, and he gets up, he's like, huh, just brushes off his shit, puts his hat on, walks away. That's
I never heard of that
fucking
movie.
Harrison Ford, man.
Is that
it's a comedy.
Okay.
It was a disaster comedy. I think I can get behind it more if he was already Red Hulk. Ooh.
And who knows how that's going to play out too. I mean, honestly, maybe that's how he'll start. Let's get introduced to Red Hulk first, but
I pray he does the press tours. I'd love to see him not give a fuck about the MCU.
One of my favorite press tours he did in the last few years was for actually Blade Runner 2020 or 2049. Because I think him and Ryan Gosling got along really well.
They have some great interviews.
They had some great interviews for that, and that was one of the few times I can remember in recent years that Harrison Ford was generally laughing.
He was having a good time because he hates the press. For the most part, he hates being involved in the tours and the press and all that stuff. he wants to be a pretty private guy, so
Yeah, for sure.
he is not big on it. But yeah, I'm sure the MCU and Disney will be like, hey, Harrison, just act like you give a fuck. We'll add another zero to your paycheck if you just smile a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, add a couple zeros to my paycheck, see what happens.
Yeah, I know what happens. I've seen the videos on Pornhub. They're disgusting. All right, Tone, it is time for some trailers. We got 2 trailers to show today.
Yeah.
Just 2. Short. It's a short trailer week. We don't have 5 like last week, but 2 good trailers. I think one of them is going to spark some good conversation. Ford is the Bill Belichick of movies. He really is. He really is. Isn't he still with Felicity something? Is he? I thought he was with I thought it was Laura. Was it or Calista Flockhart?
Yeah, she played that show on Felicity.
Ally McBeal, wasn't it?
I
don't know what it was. I thought it was Dick Hart.
Dick Butt.
Yeah, I think it's Calista Flockhart, but I don't even know. All right, so the first trailer dropped today. I have not seen the second one, which I'm going to remedy that ASAP because this trailer was fucking dope.
I spent the last 7 years of my life living out my wildest dreams. Bianca, Rocky, my dad. This was built on their shoulders. Hey, my man, can I help you?
Let me get an autograph.
Nah, I ain't signing no autographs, but you get off my car.
You don't remember me, huh?
Damien. How long were you locked up?
18 years, bro. Just got out last week.
Glad to have you back out, huh?
I know I've been away a long time, but I kept myself in shape. I still got gas in the tank.
Come by the gym.
Thank you.
Curious what happened with you two?
I didn't tell you. We was like brothers. I was the best, though. But I never got a chance to prove that. That's cute.
Hey, what you doing, man? Trying to hurt me?
I know what you're doing, Donnie. You don't owe this dude nothing.
Damien's fighting the world, and he's trying to hurt people.
I vouch for you. You think you mad? Try spending half your life in a cell. Watching somebody else live your life. I'm coming for everything.
You threatening me?
Something is going on with you.
Damien was like family.
Now we past talking.
Then maybe you just have to find him.
Do what I gotta do. Some of my methods you might disagree with me. These are family ties. I recognize mine. I know that they needed me. Traumatic stress, watch it manifest. Got my only fear. I ain't scared of death. Did you hear me yet? I ain't scared of death. Did you hear me yet? What you gonna do? Threaten to take my breath?
I need you to let go of your fear. Let go of the guilt. Let go of whatever was and walk into what is.
I feel those chains are breaking, yeah. I fear God, I don't fear death. I see those stripes and take a step.
I need to watch the second one ASAP.
So I apparently, and I haven't watched any of these.
Oh, man.
And apparently,
First
from
one's
what
awesome.
both of you in Prime said, like, you got to watch
Yeah.
them, and I just haven't. And this trailer alone, I was planning sometime in the next couple weeks. I will be watching Creed 1 and 2. And listen, Michael B. Jordan. You don't need to say much.
He's
about him.
directing this too.
Yeah, and that's exciting.
Yep.
And he is a great actor. I
Yep.
love Michael B. Jordan. But I was just telling you while we were watching this trailer, and I don't know really if it was what happened before necessarily Lovecraft Country, but I feel like that's when I was actually introduced to Jonathan Majors here.
Sure.
And I'm telling you right now, everybody, like I just told him, he's rising the ranks in the last few years. He will be an A-lister really soon. I mean, he's about to play a main villain in the main phases of MCU.
Yeah.
And we've seen him already, and his range and everything that he's got is incredible. This guy is like, if I see his name attached to something, I'm instantly excited. I don't care if it's a short film of him just sitting on the beach kicking a ball around. I don't fucking care. I'm gonna watch it. And honestly, one of the things that I did read as well too is that Michael B. Jordan apparently had instant respect for how hard Jonathan worked for this movie. He was like blown away by how hard he put his soul
That's
into it.
fucking
So
awesome.
yeah, that trailer is fucking incredible. As somebody who loves boxing,
Mm-hmm. And we got the trifecta of MCU in this movie.
Yeah, we do.
We got
we
Michael
really
B.
do.
Jordan, we got Jonathan Majors, and Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, crazy.
An MCU loaded flick with those three. No, this trailer looks fucking awesome. Like
So
I'm just a
fucking hype.
huge fan of Jonathan Majors. I don't think Rocky was. I know he was in the first one. I don't know if he was even in the second one. Cuddles. I think it kind of just went towards
Kind of
more.
grown past him.
It did. I mean, and he was great in the first one. I liked Rocky, but it was kind of. It's not about Rocky. This series is about Adonis Creed, and so that's like he was there to kind of pass the torch. And I think Stallone said he was done with Rocky. I think he did too. But I mean, I just don't think this was it was a series that they were going to like rely on Rocky. That Rocky was going to be a key part. I think he was just kind of there to kind of like introduce
Kind of maybe help
Adonis
boot it up.
to everybody, and then be like pass the torch and get him on. He was in the second one. Okay.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was busy filming Samaritan.
Oh, fucking Samaritan.
Well, that's what I was worried when I first saw this. I'm like, so Sylvester going to handle this too? So, yeah.
No, I'm hyped to see this. March 3rd, 2023 in theaters. I will have watched 1 again and 2
I
for
will
the
see
first
this
time.
day one.
We'll be there for that one for
we'll be
sure.
day
It
one.
looks fucking awesome. Now, this next trailer, it's just a short teaser, but I do think there is a discussion to be had regarding it.
I've got a lot to say probably about it too.
I want to get everyone else's thoughts as well. Let's check out this
Crash.
trailer right now.
Fragile. It must be Italian.
Duck, duck, duck! Oh, fudge.
Ho, ho, ho.
Immediately, we see it from Cuddles and Josie Wells. Cuddles, no. Josie Wells, this is wrong. No idea why they're making a sequel.
Well-
I've never seen A Christmas Story. Crash, you're just fucking weird. One, it's not on TBS.
All right, Josie, that's good.
Okay, well, like I said, I feel like there is a discussion
Also,
that's warranted here. Now, look, my first reaction was the same thing. This isn't necessary. And to be honest with you, we've already had a sequel to this movie.
2.
Well, we've had 2 sequels.
There's actually been 2.
Oh, Jesus.
I read that yesterday.
But we do know the one that I remember most, because when the trailer dropped, I was just like, what the fuck is this? And that was in 2002. There was a shamelessly made sequel just called Christmas Story 2, starring Daniel Stern as the old man. If you go back and watch the trailer, it is cringe as fuck. Terrible.
Keep in mind, I didn't know about that movie until like last year when we were doing our Christmas movies, and I'm a big fan of this movie.
This is a very sacred movie. This is a movie you just don't fuck with, okay? And so, like, look, immediately I saw this trailer and same concerns as everyone else. There is also a Christmas Vacation 2, but who gives a fuck? I don't even know what that is. And, like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not gonna. I lost interest in the vacation movies after Vegas Vacation. I was like, okay, they've gone off the rails, and no interest in that. Plus, I don't think you can do Cousin Eddie, because he's in. Where is Randy Quaid these days? We should do a Where Are They Now? Where is Randy Quaid?
Randy Quaid was last living in like some mobile trailer, I thought, in Canada or somewhere. But I think I think the feds finally caught up.
Did the feds catch him?
I thought they did a few.
He
years
looked like
ago.
Santa Claus at one point.
Right, and he was doing those porno videos, and whoever he was seeing, and he had her like giving him BJ's on the on his bed and saying like this is how it's done in Hollywood and all this stuff.
Oh,
Like just
Randy.
completely weird shit.
Oh, Randy.
Yeah,
All right, Tony, I'm going to come to you first. Your initial
Vancouver can't. There it is.
where
Maybe
what
they didn't catch up.
what's your thoughts? Dude? Initial reaction.
So I'm a super fan of this movie. We
You're not
probably
even a Christmas guy either.
Right. There's very little things about Christmas I enjoy. This happens to be one of them. One of my favorite memories in my early mid-adulthood was when I would go to my mom's on Christmas Eve. I would stay the night, and I would watch this all night or on and off as I fell asleep, and in the morning watch it all. And I'd still kind of do that. I watch this over and over. It's just kind of my thing. I'll just come into the movie wherever it's at. And then, just matter of fact, she even got me when I don't know where the fuck it's at. She got me like a mini version of the Fragile of the
Fragile.
Yeah, I had a little lamp of it. So yeah, I'm super fan of this shit. Like, but at the same time, like some things just don't need sequels.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
However, the only reason I'm intrigued is because they've got the actual actor of Ralphie coming back. So are we passing the buck now? Is he the dad dealing with his kids who are shitheads?
I'm going to talk to you about the story here in
who
a
knows?
second.
Yeah. So
initial thoughts, same as you, same as everybody else in the chat.
yeah.
And then I stepped back for a second, and I started doing some research. And I do think there's some potential here and a reason to be even maybe somewhat optimistic. I'm going to go through this list here. This is what I came up with, you guys, and this is the thoughts that I'm having. First of all, here's the premise. Ralphie, now an adult, returns home to give his kids a magical Christmas, reconnecting with his childhood friends and reconciling the passing of his old man. So he's coming back to reconcile the passing of Darren McGavin's old man, the dad. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now, right there, trying to give his kids a magical Christmas. That's endearing. A lot of parents can relate to that. I think that's cool. That's a cool idea. Reconnecting with his childhood friends. We can confirm. Schwartz, Scott Fargus, Randy, all of them are back. Everybody is coming back for this.
Is Melinda Dillon still alive?
Going to get into that. She is alive. But she's not listed in the credits yet. Now, here's the thing. I think this is a really cool premise. I love Darren McGavin as the old man. I thought he was one of the best dads ever in movie history.
Ever.
Like when I watched that movie, every year I watched it, everyone always as a kid focused on Ralphie, focused on Randy. I thought they were just awesome. Like, oh yeah, these guys.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten older and as I've become a parent, I watched that movie. I watched the dad. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is the best portrayal of a father ever, ever. The whole time you think he's oblivious to what his kid wants for Christmas. And then there's that scene where he's like, they're sitting on the couch, you get everything you want? Oh, not everything. Oh, that's the breaks. And he's like, hey, what's that over there? And he goes over and the mom's like, hey, what's that? And he goes, oh, I don't know. Santa Claus probably dropped it over there because dad was paying attention. He's paying attention. And the excitement that he conveys when he's opening the present, he just knows. So the dad is a big part of Ralphie's life. So I think that is cool. As we mentioned, the original cast, all the kids, Flick, Schwartz, Scott Fargus, Randy, they're all there. We have no word on Melinda Dillon yet. She is alive. She's 83 years old, and she hasn't been in a movie since 2007.
Oh my God, is she really that old? Oh
she's that old.
I still would too.
You would, but you would do it with a mailbox. But look, she's not in the credits. But look, if the focus is on the passing of the dad, and there's no mention of the passing of the parents, I have to believe she at least has to make a cameo. If she shows up, you do bring everybody back. That's bonus points. That's not half-assing it. Daniel Stern is the old man and all that shit and all the sequels. That's half-assing it. So we have that. Lastly, the other reason I'm optimistic, I seriously doubt HBO Max, with the sterling reputation they have with their content right now. They have great stuff that they're putting out. Great stuff. I seriously doubt they would risk that to take on a sequel, knowing that the Daniel Stern disaster is out there, if they didn't think it was a really, really good story. The original cast, even the director did Christmas Chronicles on Netflix starring Kurt Russell. I actually thought that was a good Christmas movie. So he has an understanding of Christmas movies.
All right.
Look, this could be a shoddy cash grab because it's dropping right by Thanksgiving. Everyone's going to be together for the holidays. Oh, hey, sign up for fucking HBO Max so we can watch this on Thanksgiving. Cool. But look, I'm sorry. I'm not going to be negative. I'm actually going to be very optimistic about this. I think that this has been. Now, is it going to be? Is it going to surpass the first one? No. And if anyone thinks that, they're nuts. But that doesn't mean this has to be a major letdown. This could have a very good story with all the characters we love. It's PG, so we know it's not going to be like off the rails absurd. It's going to be family oriented. If they take that, they have all the characters back, and he's reconciling about the loss of his old man, and he's trying to make a magical Christmas for his kids by going home. That's potential. I think there's a lot of stuff that people can relate to there.
So this is also still going to have to be a period piece, though, too.
Well, I mean, he's older now. He's got kids, so maybe 20, 30 years. So we're talking 1980s?
Yeah, maybe, 80. That's what I'm thinking, like early, mid-80s.
80s, maybe? 90s, something like that?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think there's potential, man. Who is this movie aimed at? It has to be older generation. I doubt younger kids are about the original. My kids love the original.
I feel like it's one of those movies that's
I don't know.
timeless like that.
If younger kids have parents who love the original, younger kids watching, they're probably like, "Oh, this is my kids love the original."
My cats love this shit.
My cats love this shit.
Big fans.
I think this has potential, dude. I love the fact that they brought everyone back, and it's got a good story. So, A Christmas Story establishes its time frame as the late 30s. However, some moments challenge the exact year the story takes place. A Christmas Story was initially released in '83, but was set just over 40 years in the past. So, I mean, it could be the 80s. Who knows? I mean, they're going to have to modernize it for sure.
Yeah, so that makes sense. It could be, late 70s, early. Yeah, so I think we're right in that time frame, I think, with him saying that. So
I'm going to watch this. Just because of the effort that they're putting into it. And like I said, I don't think HBO Max would take this on if it was total shit.
And
There's no way they would.
We got the cast back. I mean, that's a pretty big fucking
That's
deal.
huge, dude.
Yeah.
We talk about that with everything else that we watch.
I mean, I'm sure all those guys were doing so much work elsewhere.
But at the same time, those are just people that we know.
Another MCU guy, Ralphie.
Ralphie is. Yes, that's right. He is. So I think this has potential. I'm excited to check this out. November 17th on HBO Max. We'll be curious. Is it just going to be a cash grab, or is there going to be a heartfelt story? HBO makes great shows, but movies, I mean, they've got some. I mean, shit. What was the one that we saw with
Judas and the Black Messiah?
That was a fucking amazing movie.
Yeah.
The Streets of Newark, fucking amazing movie.
Yeah.
So they do movies. They do really, really good movies. So I'm optimistic, man. I'm actually curious to see how this plays out. So we'll check this out definitely next month. Near Thanksgiving. Guys and gals, I apologize. Tone has to go tinky.
It's time.
So he's going to go potty. We'll be right back. We're going to be talking Halloween Ends, and I know we got some call-ins. So we'll be right back. Welcome back from a Tones pee break. We're back here live, and we got to talk about Halloween Ends. We got to call in, and we'll bring Mr. Tricky on here shortly. But Tone,
Yeah.
Halloween Ends, the third and final movie in the David Gordon Green, Danny McBride written Halloween trilogy. The final entry of the Laurie Strode saga. Now, look, dude. We both pretty much fucking hated Halloween Kills.
Yeah.
We fucking hated it. It was a trash movie with a trash premise, with a trash story. It was garbo. And at the end of it, they were like, yo, we're going to go the supernatural route again. Much like Halloween's 4 through 6, when they leaned into the Thorn bullshit, they leaned into the supernatural abilities of Michael Myers. After they spent the first one really kind of like establishing that he's more grounded. Then they said, fuck it. He's fucking supernatural.
Sweet.
So Halloween Ends comes out, and Tone, I know there's people, especially our call-in, who just really don't like this movie.
It's
actually divisive. There's
all over the place with people.
There's a lot of people on social media who actually like this movie. And Tone, I honest to God, man, after I watched it, I asked myself right there, because I wasn't infuriated. I wasn't pissed. I wasn't angry like I was at the end of Halloween Kills. Now, did that movie somehow, like, just desensitize me from shitty Halloween movies?
Maybe.
Possibly. Strode was the only saving grace for this dumpster. Ooh, Michael is not a fan.
No, he's not a fan at all.
He is not a fan at all.
No,
like I said, man, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Now, look, I'm going to preface this by saying the John Carpenter classic is one of my top 3 horror films of all time. I hold the movie and the character of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode very close to my heart. Big fan. I liked Halloween 2. I liked Halloween 4. 5 and 6 is where it really kind of derailed. H2O was good. Resurrection was trash. Rob Zombie's first one, the first half was good. The rest of it and part 2 were shit. Halloween 2018, sans the Dr. Sartain's bullshit story, was a good Halloween movie. And then Kills just completely went off the rails and was terrible. This one comes out, Tone, and I seriously, after the movie, I was like, I feel like I should hate this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like I should hate this movie. I wasn't. I wasn't mad. I wasn't pissed that I wasted time. I was just like, huh. Because it establishes early on, we're going this way. And we're going way off road. It is established early on that we are going way off the rails for that. We're going Halloween 3 off the rails nuts. Was it because Halloween Kills was so bad you could tolerate this one? Dude, that's very desensitized. Dude, maybe that's what it was. I don't think this one was worse than Halloween Kills. I really don't. And I'll get into some stuff, but Tone, like, am I crazy for not being pissed about watching this movie as a fan of Halloween?
Okay, so here's what's interesting for this is I objectively don't like Halloween movies. I don't care about Michael Myers. I mean, I do give credit. I think he started the whole slasher thing. It's been a long time since I've even seen the first one. I just don't care about the character. I'm probably still in love with Jamie Lee Curtis to this day, truth be told, but
you associate her more her to this than Michael Myers.
Her, yeah,
I mean, I can't blame you.
Always been in love with her, but you know, and honestly, I thought she was great in this movie. I really enjoyed her. Like, she had like this like sageness about her, which I thought was cool. I felt like they explored her like supernaturalness about it. Like, she just has these like intuitions, and I actually really like that. But for me, I think there's a lot of plot holes in this movie. And I'm not like, listen, I like plenty of things with plot holes. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like, there's some pretty big fundamental plot holes when a guy who needs glasses to see or do anything loses them and never wears them again. Like, is that supposed to just like be the evil version of him now? Like, I don't know. Like, or does he have the Michael?
Evil gives him Spidey senses.
Or does he have the Michael sight now? He doesn't need glasses. It's
Michael
really
sight.
fucking weird.
Michael vision.
Yeah, Michael vision. I don't know exactly what the fuck was going on in this movie partly. And the thing about it is is if it was not a Halloween movie, it wasn't a terrible movie. I think it was better than Kills, or at least on par with Kills. As somebody who had to watch that shit too and definitely hated that fucking movie, like I like this better than that, but that's not. I mean that fucking.
I mean, what does that really say?
Yeah, where's that bar? It's like doing limbo but laying on your back. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't know. I get that. To me, I've always thought these kind of characters, have a good mix of grounded and mysticism or supernatural to them, and I still, like I said, at the end of the day, I still don't know what the fuck was going on. Like they don't allude to anything. Like there's no understanding. I feel like there's never any real payoff to understand what's going on. You have to make some assumptions, which is good in the right movies, but I feel like this one just did I shouldn't have to be making assumptions in a Halloween movie at all. Like I just shouldn't. Like I don't feel like I need to try to figure out, okay, why is now all of a sudden he wants to do this stuff because he saw you? Like you just keep you're down here in a sewer, no one bothers you, but you keep the knife hidden.
He's been in a sewer for 4 years. What the fuck is Michael Myers doing in a sewer for 4 years?
Chilling? I mean, does the
no
guy
explanation to that?
Was he eating rats? I got other questions I want to know. You know what I mean? And then just generally the kid. The kid that the main kid, what's his name?
Corey,
whatever the fuck, right? I couldn't even remember his name.
We'll try not to get into too much spoilers, but
right. Oh no, yeah, exactly. But as a main character, as his acting, I felt like he acted the shit out of it.
He's really good. He's really good.
I thought he did a great job, but he was also in a movie where I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Listen, the first 10 minutes of this movie was the best part of this movie, in my opinion. Because it's just I didn't see any of that coming, and it's just it kind of starts off with a fucking huge bang, and then the rest of the time you're going what? What? Huh? Really? The teenage kids are gonna you? And none of the dynamics really really connected with me, And even the sheriff guy, I told you earlier, I'm why was he such a fucking weirdo?
Yeah, his character was so different from the first movie.
Right,
so
right.
Different.
I don't have any attachment to this series. I can just say how I felt objectively watching this, and I definitely will say this: if you're a fan of Halloween and didn't like this movie at all, I actually understand that. I think I can respect that easily. I'm not going to debate that because there wasn't a lot of the things that you normally need in a fucking Halloween movie at all, so I get that. But as a horror movie in some ways, it wasn't terrible. I've seen a lot worse, right? I just felt like it was a lot of loose ends, a lot of plot holes, and for it to be the end of a series, it ended well, I guess. I don't know. I don't know, man. It's torn. Overall, I didn't really care or like about it. I'm mostly indifferent about it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let everybody else that really have more of a stake in the series have that. But again, at the very least, this was better than Kills. I think this was watchable. Whereas after watching Kills, if you guys probably go back, I was pissed because I felt like I'd wasted an hour and a half.
Man.
I was pissed.
Kills is terrible.
I wasn't too pissed about watching this, but you fans out there, I know some of you are, and I understand that. So.
I'm going to jump in here and get some of these messages.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff going out there.
There's a lot of good stuff in here. Michael on Facebook says, I watched Halloween Kills right before I watched this movie. I love the kickback to the old movies, and they do. They really do a good job at bringing back legacy characters, and I agree with that 100%. I thought that was great, but man, this was rough for me to watch. Crashes, I saw a tweet saying Michael was on screen longer in Ends than he was in the original Halloween. It's weird that it didn't feel that way. Honestly, that makes sense because
that's interesting.
I do think that's interesting, but I also think it makes sense because in the first Halloween, the part of the allure and part of what made him scary is you didn't know if he was there or not. So you didn't need him to be there because they established multiple times earlier.
Is true.
He's just standing behind a bush and then he disappears, or he's standing in the trees obscured and then he's gone. It was more about when he wasn't there. He's stalking, but he's there. You could hear the breathing sometimes, or they would just allude to him being there, and that's what made him scary. You didn't need him to be on screen to be scary. You just knew he was there, and that was scary enough. But at the time, in 1978, nobody had done a movie like that before. That's fucking terrifying. Mm-hmm. But we've been desensitized over the years with all sorts of slashers and stalkers where you need to have that screen presence. You have to have Michael Myers on the screen. People want to see him because he's a killer. We're a lot different now than we were in 1978. 1978, Halloween was a fucking horrifyingly scary movie because you'd never seen it before. Mm-hmm. But now that you have seen it, you got to have my man on screen.
Mhm.
He's got to be on screen a lot. Now, it's crazy that he's even figured to be in there a lot. He's not in this movie a lot. I'm not going to get into why because I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but they lean into the supernatural elements that they established in the last one, which is even more absurd than the Thorn shit from 4, 5, and 6. But for whatever reason, like Tone said, this movie felt a lot like Halloween 3. Because Michael isn't even the focus for most of this movie. He's not the focus.
At all.
In Halloween 3, he's not even in the fucking movie.
Mhm.
But Halloween 3, much like this one, like you said, had this not had the Halloween moniker on it and been something else, Halloween 3 is actually a really fucking good movie. Like it's not great, but it's a campy cult classic. It's fucking absurd, and it's terrifying if you think about it. It's over the top. But Season of the Witch is fucking a wild movie. And if this has that same thing, it's a wild premise. It's fucking gonzo nuts. It is gonzo nuts. But I kind of dug that. I dig the gonzo nuts approach more than the bullshit they did in Kills.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're still leaning into the supernatural stuff, but at least you're trying something different. You're trying to, and I mean, to be fair, John Carpenter last year said, look, Halloween Ends is going to be a totally different type of movie.
Mhm.
The tone of it is going to be completely different than what we saw in Kills. Now, what you can take that however you want. I mean, you can interpret that in many different ways.
Right.
And I don't think anyone saw it going this way. But this movie is fucking gonzo nuts. And it's a risk that I will actually give Danny McBride and David Gordon Green credit for. Because you really couldn't get any worse.
Mhm.
You really couldn't. Had they continued the fucking story and the direction they were going with Halloween Kills, I would have been pissed.
Mhm.
But they did something just completely weird.
Even the fucking, you know what? Even the ending was just kind of like
It was a weird ending.
kind of
Everything was
fucking
weird.
Yeah, like at the end, yeah, that was kind of weird. I forgot about that. How weird that was. Yeah, there was. Like I said, I felt there was a lot of plot holes involving the main character too. But
Look, at the end of the day, this trilogy definitely fails to live up to the potential that the first one teased. I actually liked the 2018 Halloween. Honestly, from start to finish, it's a decent Halloween movie, only held back by the Dr. Sartain storyline and just how goofy that was. Had they done that a little bit differently, I liked the thought of it. It was the execution of it.
right.
Had they done better with that, I actually think that would have been an excellent Halloween movie. But they fucking derail with Kills, and in this one they're just like, fuck, just do whatever we can to like just make it different than Kills. And they did what they could. But ultimately, this is, look, this pretty much dashed my hopes of David Gordon Green and company being able to start a new trend while maintaining the magic of Carpenter's classic. It is what it is. It's over and done. The Laurie Strode story is gone. And this is going to be a series that people are going to be very divisive over. But I didn't hate this movie. Now, I do know we want to hear from Tricky, so we're going to bring him on right now. Tricky, I hope this works. Tricky, can you hear me?
Hear me?
Can everybody hear Tricky? Tricky, say something one more time.
Hi.
Mic check. This
There's
movie was
Tricky.
trash.
We got him. We're good. All right, Tricky. Welcome, my friend. How are you doing?
Man, I'm doing all right, actually. This
I gotta
movie
get
was
your
trash,
thoughts.
dude.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Comes out with trash. Says it's trash. Tricky, why is it trash, my friend?
It gave me that like 50 Shades of Grey type of movie. You know what I'm saying? It had like or
50
Fresh.
Shades.
Yeah, you remember
What movie
Fresh?
are you watching, bro?
Right, the love story between fucking
Oh,
Corey
okay.
and fucking
Oh
Allison.
yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
see where
That's
you're
what
going
the
now.
fuck was going on, right?
All right.
So
I said Bonnie and Clyde at one point. And then it just
Much
didn't
like their outfits in the first Halloween. Oh, you don't remember that, do you?
even- Oh,
You didn't see the first one, did you? Of this
right,
trilogy.
Yeah.
She goes to Halloween party at school as Bonnie and Clyde with her boyfriend. Interesting that you mentioned that. Go ahead, Trick.
But no, like I said, it was, I don't know. I kind of feel like you in a way. The story was good. It just wasn't a Halloween story.
Bingo.
You know, there was nothing there that was Halloween other than the 10 seconds you saw Michael Myers. I mean, it was 40 minutes, 40 minutes into the fucking movie before you even fucking see Michael.
That's a
you
valid
know what I'm
point.
saying? So it's just kind of like, I don't know. It gave me that Jason Goes to Hell feeling too. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh.
We gotta bring Friday the 13th into this mess, man. Come on.
Hey, listen.
You
Oh,
good?
listen to the man. Listen, go, Trick, go. School him.
It does, though. I mean, it gives you that kind of feel. Like, that's where I thought it was going originally when the scene, when he's looking into Corey's eyes or whatever after he grabs him in the sewer and shit. You know, like he was passing on the evil, you know. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And then he gets his ass kicked by Corey. Like, what the fuck is that?
That was a stretch. That was a stretch for me too. I was just like,
did
did Michael Myers just get his ass kicked by some kid?
Yeah, so it was trash, dude. I don't know.
I get what you're saying, man, because like seriously, but you know, it shouldn't be a surprise though, right? Because the absurdity of the exchange that Michael and Corey have, that shouldn't be a surprise. It's because of just how fucking goofy the supernatural elements were at the end of Kills. I mean, we kind of had to know that this is ultimately where it had to go, right? I mean, they really leaned into how goofy the supernatural elements of Michael were at the end of Kills. Even though it's goofy, I mean, it kind of falls in line. They're being accurate with what they started. At least maybe I guess maybe my thing is like, yeah, it's still just as goofy, and I agree with you 100%. But fuck, at least they took it in a direction where I was like, okay, I can actually get behind this more so than Kills.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know though. I mean, the whole thing was like, it's the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I want to see fucking Michael Myers murder some motherfuckers and then
have a last hurrah.
Have a last hurrah, and then that's it. If you want to end it like the way that they ended it, that's fine with me or whatever. But I wanted fucking an hour and a half of Michael Myers fucking slashing some bodies up and shit.
Is that so much to ask for a Halloween movie, Trick? Is that so much to ask?
If it's the end, you know.
Right, it's the end. Like I said, if you were gonna have a movie like this where there was like no tension, you know what I'm saying? There was no build up. Like I didn't feel like I was, you know, watching the original Halloween movie, you know what I'm saying, where he is lurking around the corners. Like I said, there was none of that in this movie. You know what I'm saying? So
and see, I agree with you, but I just feel like they abandoned that in Kills, and they just felt like, look, we can't circle back and remove the supernatural stuff. We can't make them grounded again. They by the way they ended Kills, they had no other way to take it but this bullshit way, which is why I think the reason End is so underwhelming is because Kills was so fucking bad. They couldn't go anywhere else with it, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they could have, though. I mean, he could have been the badass supernatural motherfucker that we all wanted.
See, I don't see him. I don't remember it. That's the thing. Like, I guess that's, I mean, and I don't think you're wrong. I just think, like, my interpretation, my thought of Michael Myers is not a supernatural killer. Like, he's just some dude stalking his sister, even though that's not the storyline here. But that's why I felt like he became less interesting in 5 and 6 because they leaned into that fucking Thorn shit. And I was just like, oh, don't give this guy purpose. Don't give him motivation. Don't give him a crush. Be like, oh, this is why he does what he does. But with Kills, they were like, look, we're going supernatural, and they couldn't go anywhere else with it. Even if he was a badass, he's they've already tainted the character, in my opinion.
Right, but if they were gonna go the route that they did with this movie here, with what Corey was doing,
right?
Like that wasn't what Michael was doing. You know what I'm saying? Like Corey went off on the deep end and shit and was fucking just doing whatever. He was just killing random motherfuckers that didn't have really anything to do with the fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't any babysitters there. There wasn't any fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So
no, I don't think you're wrong, man.
I thought it was trash.
No, I don't think you're wrong. And I'm just trying to figure out why I don't feel this way. Why do I not think this movie was shit?
Because the story itself was decent.
That's valid.
You know, it's just not a fucking Halloween movie. You know what I'm saying?
Valid point.
As somebody objective, that's how I felt about it too.
Yeah.
This gets like the tone, like the Mortal Kombat thing with me. Like I said, you take out Michael Myers of this movie, just like you would with Cole in Mortal Kombat, and it's the same fucking movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's and that's totally and that's I totally get that, and that's why I said like I feel it's hard for me to debate for people that are upset because of the way this was, because I kind of get that, but like if you do remove that element and then it's not a Halloween movie, the rest of the movie isn't terrible. Like, it's not bad.
Right.
It's just not a great Halloween movie by any means of it, you know? So
Exactly. And I think I was talking to Dude earlier today. They should have called it the Halloween Chronicles. You know what I'm saying? And that could have been with like the season of the witch. I mean, you could have fucking grouped
Bingo.
that shit in and called it good.
No, I agree with you 100% on that. That kind of falls in line with the whole, like, the anthology that John Carpenter wanted to do when they did Season of the Witch. They were like, hey, we're going to try to make this anthology, and that's where this would have fit. I agree with you 100%. And it's interesting because if you look at the title cards of these three movies, they use the same font and color that they do in Halloween 1, 2, and 3. So if you look at this Halloween at the beginning, you look at the font and the color of it, and compare it to the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, it's identical. So it's almost like they're just kind of like winking at you going, this one's out there, kind of like this one, kind of like Halloween 3. And there are a lot of parallels with this trilogy to the original, like, 5 or 6 Halloween movies. If you look at, like, the first Halloween in the series, very similar to the first one. Cat and mouse, Michael stalking Laurie. But then you get into Halloween Kills, which is a lot of resembling of Halloween 4, 5, and 6. You've got the mob justice, which is a big part of 4, and you've got the Thorn trilogy being explored through 5 and 6, and Michael becoming supernatural at the end of that one. And then you have this one where the focus is more so on the Laurie's niece, much like it's the focus on Laurie's niece in Halloween 4 and 5, and then you have the gonzo elements of Halloween 3. It's really, if you sit back and look at these three movies, it encompasses the good and the bad and the storylines that were explored in 1 through 6. I'm not saying it's fucking clever. That might just be lazy writing and being unoriginal.
It's just interesting to think about it.
But it's interesting to think about that way. This one is very much in line with Halloween 3 in terms of, like, it's fucking craziness.
We're trying to keep spoilers light yet.
We're trying to keep spoilers out of it, Crash. We're like tiptoeing it right now. We're probably doing a bad job. No, you're fine. No, you're fine, Trick. You're fine. Crash, we'll talk spoilers tomorrow when we go see Black Adam. We'll talk about it the movie.
I guess the last thing that I've got too is, I think Tone kind of touched on this, was
always touching it.
Laurie's like intuition. Like, for the first 2 movies, she told motherfuckers, yeah, he's coming. Yep. He's coming, right? And then told the family. Idea. The family didn't believe. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing with this one. She told Allison that Corey was a jackass. And,
nobody listens to her.
Nobody fucking listens. So.
Laurie's just trying to save people. Man, her family sucks. Laurie's family sucks. That's why her daughter, her daughter's husband is dead. Everyone's dead because nobody listens to fucking Laurie.
That's what I'm saying. See?
No respect for Laurie Strode. That's bullshit.
Yeah. All right, guys,
Trick,
I appreciate it.
Hey, Trick, appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate hearing your opinions. And like I said, this is a very divisive movie, and everyone's going to have a lot of different opinions on it, and I dig that. And I feel like there is a conversation, because if you go on social media, it's not all hate. I mean, there are some people who are looking at this like from a different perspective, and I mean, that's the weird thing about this movie and this franchise. It's always been that way. Honestly, this franchise, there's people that love the Thorn storyline. Mm-hmm. They think it's, he's got an origins. I'm just like, that kind of makes him fucking lame because it's a stupid origin. And this one, he's got a supernatural ability. But no, Trick, we appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you.
Later, fellas.
Big shout out to Tricky Regent, the man, the myth, the legend. Big old sweetheart. Appreciate him calling in. No, we want to get you guys your thoughts. If you're watching this on YouTube, listening on Spotify, we will have a question and a rating in the Spotify description. Make sure you sign off, rate the movie, let us know your thoughts, answer the question, and if you leave some good information there, we'll read it off on next week's show. Overall, though, very split on this. I mean, I didn't hate it. I feel like I should, but I didn't hate it. But I appreciate Tricky calling in. I appreciate everyone in the chat that commented on it, because I feel like that was honestly, I didn't expect this kind of conversation with this movie going into it. I was like, this is going to be a movie I'm going to fucking hate, and we're all going to hate it, and it'll be a brief conversation. But I just feel like it's one of those movies that's just, it's weird, man.
Yeah.
It's weird. All right, time to move on to our next topic. This is a hot one, too, and I think we may have some call-ins for this one. Series review for SheHulk. We have seen all the episodes. Oh, we got our first caller in the chat already. We'll bring him on in just a moment. But Tony, I'm going to come to you first, man.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on SheHulk. This is another very divisive topic.
It is. I actually, I'll start with the cons of the series for me. I felt like sometimes the pacing of the show was a little off.
Sure.
I felt like sometimes the episodicness of it kind of made some of the other episodes feel like they were like you were excited for another episode because you wanted more. Because overall, I really was enjoying this. I liked the characters. I liked the actors. I really liked a lot of what was going on. But you would get these kind of one-off episodes that we always go back to the wedding, I feel like. And it just, there was a very smart method to why they did the episodes, why they did. And the character explains it to you most of the time as well, too, which I really do appreciate. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it moves the story very well, though, either. And I felt like a lot of these episodes just felt like instead of walking forward, it was sidestepping a little bit. And I think that's one of the biggest things for me that hurt it. Also, I think some of the big reveals that they were showing off pre the series coming out also made it so everybody kept wanting certain things to happen and expectations.
Okay.
And those didn't.
A little bait and switch, maybe?
Right. And it took long to get there. And I think that was part of the problem for a lot of people. So they were riding on the stuff that they wanted, and that anything in between was going to be extra annoying to them because of that. But that being said, as far as the character itself, my favorite part about this series was that it was really true to SheHulk, the character. It was very fourth wall breaking. She even says it out loud that it's a lawyer comedy sitcom or whatever. And that's the best way of looking at it. And I think that's where we got to be careful of sometimes on what our expectations are, what we think things are going to be, because most MCU products we get are not, I mean, they might have some levity and some jokes, but they're very serious toned. And this is certainly not. This character is certainly not. And it's good and bad if you do or don't know those sort of things. Like, as somebody who at least was aware of that, I felt like going into it, but not as super fans like somebody like Crash. When he was saying certain things that he was appreciating, enjoying it, and other She-Hulk fans, that made like when I was watching, going, man, I really like this, and they were going like, this is great, this is really great. You know, I'm like, oh shit, well that's exciting, because rarely do the source material things come to this close to fruition. So that's really exciting, and they took some big chances with this series, because whether you do or don't like the series, there's some things that they did that really actually evolves the MCU in ways that it's never been touched, because we've already got multiverse, but now we got a character who, similar to Deadpool, but almost even more than Deadpool, does things that, like, how do you classify that? You know what I mean?
Right.
But what I also really liked about the series, besides like again, the casting, some of the casting was really fun, is that it tackles some really serious things about what women still deal with today.
Oh yeah.
And I know there was, prior to the show, I think the showrunner, the director, she's been known to be a feminist and very open about that as well too. And I know there's folks out there that were worried about that as well too. But I would say, in rebuttal to that, that if you're going to do a character like this, it's good to have that perspective, because I think it makes the story, when it needs to have the seriousness to it, be really real. And they were like, I mean, they were posting actual trolls for people that hated the series in the series, because they hate it just because it's a woman empowering show. I don't believe this was something that I've seen people say out there that was either, man bashing or overly this, that, or the other.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, it is. And what I liked about the series is that it was literally all based off of the things that women deal with still on a day-to-day basis, and it was full of perspective, and they tied it into a fucking sitcom, a comedy.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts, right? For me, at least. And honestly, like, at the end, when I get to the end of the series, I get to the finale, and the last few, really, really built up and did some great things. That finale might be one of the greatest, like, things the MCU has done yet, because it was it leaned well so heavily into that character and became, again, really something that we haven't seen in the MCU at all.
Right.
Now we're preparing for Deadpool. He's another fourth wall breaker as well too. How these two will mix that, can't wait to see it. Right, if we get a chance to see that. But what she did was way beyond that even, and that was a big thing, and to the point where it was really giving Kevin Feige and Disney kind of like this almost like this objectivity of themselves.
A little critique against themselves.
It really was, and that's not something that you would expect normally from something like Disney to do that openly. I mean, basically saying
you're right.
Your stories are sometimes a little shallow and predictable, and so are your villains.
A little carbon copy.
Said that out loud, and I thought that was like fucking wild. Now, some people were like, "Well, the finale was kind of a mess. I wanted more. I wanted these things that were doing like that." But guess what? It wasn't about those characters. It wasn't about Abomination. It's not about Bruce. It's not about those characters. It's about She-Hulk, and it's about that character. So what had happened was what needed to happen for that character, and that's what made it. The walk of shame was great. And like some people have complained that they thought Charlie Cox is a little too much jokey and more MCU than the dark versions. Listen, guess what, guys? I hate to break it to you as well too. Daredevil wasn't always so tight ass. He actually makes jokes in the comics. That just happens. That's what comics are. All of them, even in their most serious, to have some levity at some point. So. But I digress. I'm getting long-winded, I know. But at the end of the day, I really liked the message that they were doing. It felt like a very woman empowering, not a man bashing. So you got to look. It depends on how you look at your glass, half full or half empty, right? And I felt like it did a great job, really doing what they needed to do with this character and giving such great perspective. But man, in the way they did it is just did not expect that. So. Had a good time. It was fun. I was very entertained, even on the bad episodes. Overall, I was very entertained with the series.
Yeah. No, like there's like I'm just gonna touch on a couple things, and we're gonna get Cuddles on here. First of all, I just want to say Tatiana Maslany is a star in the making. She is incredibly talented. The way she conveys both Jennifer Walters and her insecurities and She-Hulk and the subtle differences between those characters, like the confidence she gets as She-Hulk, she conveys that perfectly. She makes the show work with her charm and her range, and she works well with the talented ensemble that she's surrounded by, including like her little legal team. Ginger Gonzaga as Nikki, Josh Segarra as Pug. They were awesome. He was amazing, like really good supporting cast. And Tim Roth, and playing more so as Emil, is amazing. The episode where she goes to his retreat is fucking incredible. I thought it was well done. Like it tackles some cool themes and how a lot of sessions play out for people. But it was just the perfect balance of serious and hilarious.
I was getting some actual Korg vibes from him.
Yes,
but not overly Korg vibes, and I actually really liked that.
Yes, I thought the way they used Emil Blonsky in the series was fucking amazing. I really liked it. But I came into this. I don't know the comic. I don't know how it is portrayed. So all I had to do was sit down and watch it as it is. And to me, it was a fourth wall breaking sitcom. The show is hilarious with some genuine storylines to keep it from being all comedy and nothing else. Jennifer's growth and coming to terms with being a superhero is really well done. And the struggles, like again, going back to Tatiana's ability to be a really good actor, is just the way she conveys that struggle and the emotions that come with it. You get to see a lot of what women have to deal with in the dating life. There's a lot of shitty shit that you have to put up with. But yeah, there were definitely some, like you mentioned, some pacing issues. Some of the storylines, like especially the Tatiana one, was just kind of there, and it never proved to be anything like villainous or anything. It was just like, okay,
right.
it was just there as like plot device to keep things moving. And then the shady group trying to get her blood. I mean, we didn't really get a whole lot from that. It was just kind of like,
when it was kind of how the ending changed. I think that my guess is
was that tied into the ending.
I think there's more to that somewhere. Yeah, and they flipped the ending as well too, because like she said, like, well, what's the point? Like, why are we, like, what's the point of all this?
That's a valid point. That's a valid point. But for the most part, man, I really enjoyed every episode. Yes, some were slower than others, but the finale was really, really good. Like you said, it's something completely different. A lot of self-awareness on Disney's part and Kevin Feige's part. I just thought it was a really good show. I had a really good time with it. I thought it was entertaining, but I do understand, like, there's just some folks that weren't happy with it, and I appreciate the perspective. All I can do is share mine, and I appreciate your perspective as somebody who's familiar with the source material, and I dig that. We're going to get another perspective right now. We're going to bring on King Cuddles, the man, the myth, the legend. Let's get him in here, and hopefully I didn't fuck this up. I don't think I fucked this up. I don't think I fucked it up. King Cuddles, are you there, sir?
Hello?
Yo, what's up?
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Cuddles, we appreciate you calling in. And I know you have a different perspective on She-Hulk, and I would love to hear it. We all want to hear it. Lay it on us, brother.
Well, first off, I will say, as most things I call in on, I watch this as a entertainment fan, not really the
much like me
comic book lore fan. Yes.
Yep.
I will say I didn't hate the show.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love the show either. I did think the cast was great. I loved who, I forget her name, but the one who played She-Hulk. I mean, even the rest of the cast around it. To be more of a, y'all mentioned it a couple times, a comedy show. I found 90% of the jokes just didn't hit to me anyway.
Really?
I didn't find it funny at all, for the most part. I think somebody said it earlier. Josie, I would like to see more like the courtroom style.
That was really
more
shallow.
of that brought into the episodes.
Yeah, that was really shallow. I agree.
I didn't like the last episode at all.
Oh, really?
What? Y'all are praising it.
No, that's okay. What didn't you like about it?
I don't know. I was waiting just to see AC Slater and Lisa Turtle frozen in the background while female Zach Morris is sitting there talking to me for 45 minutes. I don't know. I just did not find it interesting. And even going back, I was sitting there thinking about today. All the best parts of the show that I can remember involved a major MCU character.
Oh, so you're talking about
whether it been
you're talking about Daredevil or
Wong.
Hulk or Wong or
Wong,
something like that.
Madison.
Yep.
Oh, that's interesting, and I feel like that's something they tried to address in the finale. Is look, this is her show, but I mean, hey, if you bring in interesting characters and if you don't feel her character was interesting enough to set her apart from those other characters, then that's definitely gonna affect somebody's viewing. I agree with you 100% on that.
It's curious why they used her as a vessel for those though too. I'm curious on that.
Yeah, I think she was a great actor. I think she played the part amazing. But I think they used the rest of the MCU as a crutch for this entire show.
I mean, they did. I mean,
you
see a lot of appearances by well-known, bigger, people that are established, and that's a good point. You use them as a vessel. Using her as a vessel to kind of filter them in, and are they taking a lot of weight? But I do feel like, in my opinion, based on what I saw, the final episode is what kind of addressed that, especially when she was able to talk about it with Kevin, Kevin, or whatever that machine's name was from the movie. Was it Up? Or no, Wall-E, where the machine comes down and talks to the captains on all the ships. But no, Cuddles, continue, man. I mean, overall,
I like how they try to fix that at the end, but at that point, I'm hoping, with another season or whatever they plan on doing with her in the future, they let She-Hulk be She-Hulk. Whether it's the Jennifer side of it or the She-Hulk side of it, I hope they let her character be the character. I mean, like I said, I was sitting there thinking about it. I was like, man, what were some of the best parts of the show? And it was like Wong and his new bestie. Or
that was hilarious, man.
Or even the Daredevil part, and that kind of played part with the story too. But it was just every time I thought about something, it was because all the episodes that was mainly focused on her sucked. The wedding episode was horrible.
I was not.
Horrible.
And the wedding episode was one where they really forced Titania, I think her name is. Where I was just that's just the one character arc that I was just I'm just not interested in at all. And they tried to make her an integral part of that episode. And I was just not a big fan of that whole. That was actually probably the weakest episode in my opinion. I was not a fan of that one.
Well, Josie, I'll tackle that real quick. So, but that's. People measure that differently. I don't think that, judging anybody by who they hook up with makes them any less of an empowering character. She had the power to choose if she wanted to do the hooking up. I mean, guys do it all the time and they get praised for it, but women do it and they get called sluts. So I think it was trying to make more of the point that she had control of it more than anything.
Hobbit Man, thank you so much for that raid. Stealthy Cypher, welcome to Banter Babble.
What up?
Stealthy Cypher comes in hot. She-Hulk was great. Big fan.
Good. I'm glad for anybody who enjoyed it. I just there was times I'd be sitting there watching 20 minutes of TikTok during the episode.
No, I
could
that's
not focus on the show.
And I get what Cuddles is saying. I mean, there is a lot of some of the more memorable moments from the show are she's sharing a screen with somebody else, and I think that is a point of contention. I think that's a good conversation we had because, yeah, some of the episodes where they weren't relying on Emil Blonsky or Bruce Banner or Daredevil were some of, we've already talked about, were some of the weaker episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to find better material for this character, better storylines for this character to really expand and be somebody who can, clearly she can carry the damn show.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to make the stories better where we don't have to have Daredevil or Bruce Banner or Abomination or Wong show up. I agree with Cuddles in that regard. I think he makes a good point there.
Yeah, and I think
I mean,
that
even with the go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think that part of what maybe made, I mean, because it was trying to be a sitcom and a comedy and all that stuff, and I totally get that, but I feel like I don't mind that, but I felt like the episodicness of it sometimes made it so, like, really, even now when you stop and think about it, what was the overall arc? Because at the end,
I
they
don't
kind
think
of
there
erased
was one.
And you know what? Maybe that's fine. Maybe, I guess.
Well, I'm not saying like as in like there was one. I really just
right.
I don't know if there was one.
Right,
I missed
right,
it.
Right. Which it can in pacing when you got short episodes and things
Very
like that.
short.
You know, like it falls into like what were we thinking or what was going to be like. I don't know. Like I said, I think there's a lot of, like, again, I really enjoyed it. But I think there's a lot of fair, like, perspectives on this one as well too, because yeah, like, even for me, like, some of the pacing was just like like,
I also thought it was really weird that there was an end credit scene to the first 4 episodes, and then like 5, 6, 7 there wasn't any, and then the last episode there was. It was just so weird how they just like, okay, we've done an end credit scene every episode in, but we're gonna stop now, and then we'll come back with more. I thought that was a bizarre choice. Go ahead, Cuddles.
I think that has to do with part of it too. I think they were just trying to push too much into their 15-minute episodes, to where you couldn't.
Right.
I mean, you're into with the episodic, the sitcom, cool. I think it could have been done so much better. I mean, you're trying to introduce something new every episode, though. I think that was more of the issue for me, to try to keep pretty much my attention into it.
I'm gonna go back.
I mean, like you said, you had the needle part, the Tatiana part. Like, it was just, I don't know, it was all over the fucking place.
I did not like the Tatiana storyline, like, at all, dude. Like, at all. I did not like it. I'm trying to find Crash's comment. Crash put a big comment in here.
Yeah, it was up further.
Oh, here it is. I still can't believe She-Hulk went to Marvel Studios in the I mean, we're doing spoilers, so I don't give a shit. I love how true to the character it was, but I would have preferred that it happened earlier in the series, perhaps during the 5th episode, so she could have disappointed with the way her story was going, and we could have gotten 4 episodes to go in the new direction. I think that's a good point.
I think that's a great point.
I think that's a really good point. Had they dropped something like that earlier, so then they can go more focused on her through the rest of the season.
If the finale was more kind of towards the middle, in that sense as well, too.
I think that's a really good point.
That could have changed. Yeah, that probably would have changed even how I feel about the show. Like I said, I don't hate it. It's just,
some bizarre
to the other
choices.
Marvel shows that have been out this year. Like, I like Miss Marvel way better than I did this one.
Same. Yeah, me too.
First of all, thank you for that follow, Tully. We appreciate you being here. Mike over on Facebook says She-Hulk as She-Hulk doing lawyer things. She isn't Jen in most of the comics because she liked being She-Hulk,
which is also true. And I think part of the reason they probably leaned into a little bit more Jen was because 2 things. I think they didn't have enough money for their mess CG for her, anyways. And 2, I think it was to be. Because when you're trying to get general audiences involved too that don't know the characters as well, I think it's an easier face to relate to when you're seeing the Jen side of it as opposed to the She-Hulk one. Now, maybe if they actually put their MCU movie money into the next series, if they do another one, they can make her look a little bit better and keep her on screen a little bit more, which they actually do make jokes about that in the series.
Yes, they do.
Hopefully they'll be able to do that and focus more just generally how the fact that she does love She-Hulk, because that is a fair point as well too. Like, as much as they were true to the character, she certainly struggled with that as well too, but I think that's fair, being that it's somebody who now just kind of like had this happen to them as well too, again, to be more relatable to a general audience as well too. But hopefully, like you said though, I think it would be more fun in the next season if she's just doing what she does, which is being She-Hulk all the time, being a badass, having fun.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Hobbit man. Thanks for stopping by. Have a great night. We appreciate you swinging through with your crew, man. Appreciate it. Carlos, do you want to add anything else, man?
Yeah, I love Tone.
No.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
Yeah, I love Tone.
Well, hey, Cuddles, enjoy the rest of your vacation. We know you're off this week. You're having a good time. Are we going to stream on Friday or what? Are we doing Ghostbusters?
Oh,
I know you got a bunch of.
I know you
got a bunch of other games you're doing on that day.
Well, I got like 15 baby showers to go to this weekend too, so I don't know.
Well, hey, stop spreading it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
stop knocking everyone up, bro.
Yeah, dude, come on. The East Coast,
I had
the
my shit tied years ago.
the Eastern Seaboard looks like a wall of children of your children.
Just gingers. All
Wait.
over the place, little Chuckies running around.
That would be what his kids would look like.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, we appreciate you
Yeah,
calling in,
Josie,
man. We
yeah.
appreciate your perspective, and that's the thing, man. We love getting other people's thoughts on stuff. I mean, there's a lot to the MCU in general is always going to be very divisive. There's going to be a lot of people who feel different one way or another about their stuff, and I think it's important to get all those different perspectives because it's everyone's different, man. Everyone sees things and feels differently about things. So we appreciate you calling in, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, bro. We'll talk to you.
You know, and that's just it too. We had a see ya. We had a major character reveal at the end, and it was such a blip on the radar about it. And what the fuck is up with his haircut? Like all of it, like it just goofy. That Scar's fucking.
Yeah, that was weird.
And that's a big fucking deal. That's a big fucking
Because
character.
he's a part of the.
He's a part of like the World War Hulk
Yes.
shit, like all that stuff. Like that's a big fucking deal. Like that's
Says it was trash.
Yeah, like what the fuck, like because there is I don't want to stick on this too long because I know we got to move on a little bit, but there is an honest
Hipster Hulk.
there is an honest discussion out there about how sometimes you get a character that is like this in the comics and then you translate them into the MCU and there's going to be changes. We all know that. But like this is another one of those where you're just like, what the fuck, dude? This is a character that like
See, I'm curious because
Hulk.
I'm not familiar with Scar, so when he showed up, I was like, okay, well, I figured Scar is a part of the future.
He was literally surfboarding and eating fucking like eating pineapple pizza while doing it like he's Mikey from the TMNT.
New Bosley spokesman.
Like, yeah, dude, what is going on with that? Like, that is, and that's the thing. Like, at some point, there needs to be some better control on those sort of things. Like, you're gonna introduce these characters. Don't come on. Like that
was super shot. I mean, that was really brief.
Right.
Man.
You had Banner go back to Sakaar, bring back his fucking son, because that entire storyline's been fucked because of Universal anyways.
Yeah.
And that's how you bring back his fucking son. The fuck? Who's signing off on that one? KEVIN?
KEVIN.
Jesus fucking Christ. I just realized how much that fucking annoyed me. Anyways.
All right. We want to get your thoughts. If you watched SheHulk, we want to get your thoughts in the chat, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening in Spotify and iTunes. Let us know your thoughts on SheHulk. A lot of people like it. Some people are a little bit indifferent on it. And there's a few people out there who absolutely fucking despise it.
And won't even watch it.
They won't even. What I hope is they go back to Sakaar's story. He will look like comic Scar.
Yeah, we can all hope, but I'm going to tell you, probably not. We'll see.
All right. Time to end on a high note, Tone. We made the decision that we are not going to cover shows weekly, but we really feel like this needs a mid-season checkup.
It does.
Let's talk a little bit about Andor, spoiler-free. We are halfway through the season now.
Mm-hmm.
We have 6 episodes left, or 5 episodes. I can't remember which one we watched. I think we watched 7 today. But, dude, I'm going to just say it right now. I'm sure there's some people that are going to disagree.
Here we go. Because that's going to be hard to debate.
Some people are going to disagree. We're not going to do any spoilers, Crash. This is the best Star Wars content we've gotten since the original trilogy.
Spicy meatball.
This is the absolute best Star Wars content we have gotten since the original trilogy. It is right up. It's better than Rogue One. It is better than Mandalorian. This show is fucking incredible. Incredible, dude. It's so good you forgot it's a Star Wars property. Crash.
That's the fucking point.
That's the best thing about this series, dude.
Absolutely. Jesus. And
better than Boba Fett.
I can't say that this is the best since the original trilogy. I think that's Keep in mind, I have not watched all the cartoons. I know that, and that's why I have to be careful because Rebels is like all encompassing
of the stuff I've seen.
Right, of all encompassing of so much for me personally. But that being said, I think that's a fair perspective because listen, Rogue One comes out of nowhere and becomes my second favorite fucking Star Wars movie after Empire Strikes Back. it can't take number one because Empire Strikes Back is what got me literally into Star Wars. Rogue One, and Drassen and some of us have talked about it for so long, and I know we've mentioned it so often here. Rogue One is so absolutely grounded, and you get to see a grittiness and a dark side, no pun intended, of the rebellion, of people that you don't see in any other movies. You get an actual true POV of what a normal person has to deal with when all the big players are doing mighty things in the galaxy. This show takes what Rogue One does, and because it's a series, is able to pull that out, and instead of like massive fight battles and explosions all the times and lasers and lightsabers, you are getting character mind-blowing growth and storylines. You are seeing dialogue unlike some dialogue I've seen in a lot of shows, and which is really good dialogue. You are seeing the actual true framework building, and we've seen it in Bad Batch, we've seen it in other things in the media, or in the Star Wars media, building the Empire, building towards A New Hope as well too. This takes it to a completely different level. You are seeing perspective more from not just like one character, Director Krennic in the Empire, or Moff Tarkin. You are seeing it from like mid-level Imperial people in boardrooms. You are seeing it from guys who fallen from grace and now have to start back up from the bottom again. You were seeing it from street rats who has this crazy backstory where he came from that they haven't really flashed back because they haven't shoved that in our throat. But has driven him to a place where you can see him slowly becoming conflicted on what he's convicted about and who he is. You are seeing the groundwork for the rebellion in different pockets and areas all around the galaxy, because people eventually, after so much oppression, Leia said it in A New Hope, the tighter you grasp people, the easier are to slip through your fingers. And that's exactly what's happening. And you're actually seeing that. As a Star Wars fan, this is like nothing I ever thought I would see. Now, listen, I love Mandalorian. Everybody knows that. I love Dave Filoni.
For what Mando is, it's a great show.
Right. But let's be honest, it's more of an episodic cartoon-style TV series. Now, we don't know what Ahsoka's going to look like and some of the other stuff they're going to look like, and maybe they'll come out and be as good as this. I doubt that, because I feel like this is so realistic in a certain way and so real that even when you see a fucking stormtrooper, you still forget that you're watching Star Wars because it feels so real. It's just
the stormtroopers actually feel like they are a threat in this.
Yeah, they make you like when
they can fuck you up.
that TIE fighter scene in that valley, like a TIE fighter you've seen in so many movies just get blasted pew 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 by X-wings and stuff like that all the time. Like it's no big deal. They ain't got no shields. They're easy to blast.
X-wings
right?
They're terrifying. Or I'm sorry, TIE fighters are terrifying.
Yeah, you see,
Star Destroyers are terrifying.
Yeah, this stuff is very absolutely scary, because when you're a normal person in the galaxy and you're, instead of being flying in the cockpit with Kylo Ren doing spins through Super Star Destroyers, you're looking up going like, that shit's fucking scary.
Yeah.
That shit is way bigger than me. And they make it feel like that as well, too. You bring in the espionage, you bring in the back channel things, you bring in all the spy stuff that they're doing. And it's not the fucking Imperials doing this. No, this is how they created the rebellion.
Like Josie just said there, the development of the officers and the ruthless meetings and inter-office politics, all that mid-level shit.
And it's compelling.
It's compelling as fuck.
They tried to add some politics into the Clone Wars cartoons, and it just never really felt well.
This here is where
this is different. Yeah. This is different, and this just it's well written.
And Josie, he mentioned earlier, just shortly down there, it says slow burn feel. Like, and I'm not implying that he means slow burn one way or the other. I just know that sometimes when folks say slow burn, they mean some people take slow burn as being it's boring, and it is a slow burn. But dude, a slow burn can still be just as intense, and still no, I didn't think he meant it as a knock, Josie. I didn't take it that way. But there are people who will hear slow burn, and they don't associate that with Star Wars. When there are folks out there who just know Star Wars for the trilogies. They don't know for the cartoons. They don't know for even Rogue One or any of the stories. They just know Star Wars for lightsabers, the Force, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and that's what they're looking for. And when those folks hear slow burn to a Star Wars thing, they're like, no. this show is a slow burn, but it is propelled with amazing writing, character development, and when that slow burn starts, that fuse is lit. And then what you get is an episode's the Eye that is an explosion. And not only is it action packed, it's still grounded. Like that. What like when you see Luke carry out a big mission in any movies, or Han Solo's with him, you're never really concerned that they're gonna die.
Right.
When these guys are carrying out their mission, the operation in the Eye, you're just like, fuck, someone's dying.
Yeah.
Like, these people are outgunned. The rebels are outgunned, outtrained by the Empire.
They have nothing to lose except
they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
And I thought that was dude. That raised the stakes.
Yeah.
That raises the stakes. Dude, that whole episode of The Eye, I was like this.
Yeah.
It was almost like shot in real time. Like, it's just constantly going. The music is bumping, and you're just like, fuck, are they going to get out of here? Are they going to get out of here?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to commend really quick, and I don't want to drag this out because it's just a mid-season checkup. This week's episode, the writers, everybody could have felt compelled. They could have been pressured to say, look, how are we going to match last week's episode?
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to match the excitement of the episode The Eye? But they didn't give in to that.
Mm-hmm.
All they did, dude, was go right back to what they did with episode 1, 2, and 3. They start the fuse.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have new developments. What happened in The Eye has changed the Empire. It's also changed the big players who are a part of the Rebel. They know now that they're in for a penny, they're in for a pound. They're all in now. There's no turning back.
Mm-hmm.
And now the stakes are higher,
Mm-hmm.
the tension builds, and the fuse is lit.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 or 6 more episodes left. We're going to get, and dude, take your fucking time. Because you showed in the first 4 or 5 episodes, you don't need shit blown up in action. You need great writing, great performances, and a sense of urgency.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that they didn't feel like they had to jam-pack some bullshit action into this week's episode. They didn't give in to that. I'm sure they felt the pressure to do so because the last episode was so good. Right back to square one. Light the fuse. Let's build it up again.
In a year where we've had such great TV, this is really coming out of nowhere. And this was a show when it originally announced, I was like, I don't know if I really care about it. And then we saw that last trailer before it came out, and then we're all like, man, this looks like it could be really good. And now here we are eating crow over that because this is turning out to be some of the best well-written Star Wars material, period.
Dude, it's been a long time. It's probably been Game of Thrones when it was good. It was the last time I was like, fuck, what's happening next week?
This is that part of
it's
dialogue,
good, yes.
of that characterization. And I'll tell you what right now, and I said this earlier to Jay McKenzie on the way here, this is going to be a show that's going to win big Emmys and awards.
It has to.
For Disney
and
Disney Plus. And mark my word, it will have to.
There has to be some, for screenplay or whatever. When does Spock come into play? Hey, as soon as Saul comes into play.
Yeah, we still haven't even got, we were supposed to get, a big name guy,
we ain't seen Saul yet, and he was in the damn trailers.
Although I did tell you earlier, there's one character I do want to see really bad.
Who do you want to see?
I want to see Ben Mendelsohn come back
as
Director Krennic, because he is still building the Death Star right now.
Yes,
that's all going on. So.
What do you think? Do you think we'll have a better chance of seeing him or Emperor Palpatine?
I think we'd have a better chance of seeing probably Palpatine,
just because it's bigger.
Ian always says he's not involved in shit.
He's full of shit.
He's always full of shit. So, but I don't know if we'll see either of them this season. If there is a second season, I hope so already. But I think what makes sense, because we wouldn't have to see the Empire. That's fine. We get the Emperor. We get plenty of nods to him. But I think seeing Director Krennic would be a big piece of this, because we build towards the Death Star. But keep in mind, we've got 5 or 6 years pre-ANH till they have to blow up the first Death Star anyways. There's some good comments out here. I do want to go back to what Crash said about Tony Gilroy when asked about how can you make a prequel to a story where we know main character dies. His quote, "We're all living in a prequel. We're all going to die." Crash said that's the realest thing anybody's ever said, and you're goddamn right. That's the realest thing I've ever fucking heard when he says that. So, absolutely. So.
That's deep talk. No, this show is great, man. I every week I just want to see it, and I'm just really excited to see and the fact that we get 12 episodes, man, that's the most exciting thing about this series. It's not going to be rushed.
Right.
It's going to take its time. And dude, and shout out to the Eye special effects, amazing episode.
Yeah.
Just I mean, with the setting of the Eye
And
event,
the composing.
yes,
And Cuddles, you're right on that too. I know we're not talking about that right now. We got the finale this Sunday. Same thing here. I have to watch this and House of Dragon before I see anything on social media, and I normally don't care about that sort of stuff as much, but House of Dragon's got me gripped by the nuts too. So
I actually have to watch House of the Dragon. Dude, we have a big show next week, dude. We actually have a very, 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 very big show for next week. We'll be talking about the House of Dragon finale. We're also going to talk about Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power finale. And we're going to be joined by the one, the only, Rohit Raju. Because he's going to have some spicy comments, I believe. If you're any indication, your thoughts, or any indication of how he feels about it, I might have to sit a little bit further over this way and let you guys sit over there because it's going to be spicy.
Yep.
So we got a hot show next week. We'll talk about those two shows. We're going to talk about Black Adam. We're actually going to see that tomorrow night. And whatever the fuck. I'll probably talk a little bit about Ghostbusters, hopefully Scorn.
Hopefully I can get some hands on Ghostbusters in the next few days as well, too.
Would love to have you on Friday night, but I know your weekends are kind of cray-cray. Would love to have you on. We will be streaming Ghostbusters Friday night. If for whatever reason other guys and gals can't get free, we'll probably jump into some Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope.
There you go.
Or maybe the Call of Duty campaign. I don't know. Friday night's going to be wild. We're going to have a lot of video games. I don't have any plans for Saturday, so Daddy can stay up late and get buzzed up. But if you are enjoying Andor, make sure you let us know in the comments what you think about it. Do you think it's a nice departure from the usual Star Wars shit? Or do you miss the lightsabers and the Jedi? Let us know what your thoughts are. We would love to hear it. Tone, what do you got for the closing, man?
As always, you know that I love to get some housekeeping things out of the way. So we obviously really appreciate when you guys come live and hang out with us and have great comments and get involved as well, too. But as always, we ask of you to make sure to tweet, retweet, share on social media, like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, rate, whatever it is. We really appreciate that. That word of mouth is so huge to us. We can't thank you all enough for those sort of things. Tell a family member, tell a friend, tell a cousin, somebody you know that also enjoys media. You know, you say, hey, got to check out these cool dudes. There's this weird guy and this guy named Fanboytone. Have a good time with it. You like to talk about movies and stuff like that, video games. We're the guys to hopefully bring that in for you. So please keep doing that. We really appreciate that. It's been really big for us. I know I see some of that stuff out there. A lot of you people retweet the stuff out on Twitter and stuff like that. Really huge. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. And if you're enjoying stuff and you're checking us out on Evergreen, if you're on YouTube, Spotify, wherever it is, please leave a comment if you're able to answer those questions. Give us that feedback. Get involved. And if you can't be here live, those sort of things are big for us as well, too. So we thank you so much for that.
This fucking guy says it all, man. I don't have to say shit. All I got to say is, for Fanboytone, I'm the Dude79. Thank you so much to everyone that tuned in tonight. Thank you to our call-ins, Tricky Regent and King Cuddles. Appreciate Hobbit Man hopping in with this community. Appreciate the files that came from that. We will see you Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Lots of Ghostbusters, getting drunk. And then next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, we'll have Black Adam to talk about, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon finale, and whatever the fuck else comes up. Well, Defects, thank you so much for stopping by. Miss Rose, have a great night. Cherry Squishy, be good. Crash, see you tomorrow.
Love you all.
Good night, everybody.
Power.